some, and I was like, yeah, not right now.
Yeah, no, my grandmother used to always keep them in the house when all the cousins would come because they were like, I think they were less than $1 back then.
Yeah, but they're not going down in price anytime ever.
Like 50 cents or something like that.
You know, it's crazy. So anyways, a few things I want to get into before we get into our show. Let's do our sponsors real quick. If you're looking for a rack, a cage, a hide, like it's 151 episodes by now. You know who we're talking about. lsreptileracks.com. Robert, he's over here. This guy, he'll get you a rack or a cage or a hide or a sign. Or
we almost didn't anymore.
That's true. We had tornadoes come through. And you had tornadoes like 200.
An F3 tornado within a quarter of a mile of the shop. I can see destroyed houses from my shop.
Yeah, I think we said it was like 3 city blocks.
If
roughly.
that.
Yeah, we were in lockdown yesterday in our schools. Like we had all the kids in the hallway because I think that tornado originally, I think it's the same one, originally touched down in Iowa Colony, where Katie teaches. Katie's not here. Rachel's here tonight. If anybody's Rachel's here, Katie is dealing with kid. Yeah, it touched down near her school and then picked up and then headed towards your shop.
Yeah, it basically went right over our houses.
Yeah,
pretty much.
So if anybody's listening that was affected by the storm, there's still whole chunks of around the Houston area that don't have power, and chunks that don't have houses. I know the animal shelter there in Pasadena was like begging folks to come take care of the dogs.
Yeah, he took a direct hit.
Yeah, they lost power and a roof.
Yeah, I noticed like today, right on the Beltway at Fairmont Parkway, like there's a Hooters and a Harley Davidson dealership, and that all is just not destroyed, but it's going to be a while.
Really,
Home Depot looked like they had a big chunk of their roof ripped off. They had a bunch of people out there working on it today, and they have to go far for materials.
Yeah, especially since there's a Home Depot and a Lowe's there. So if the Home Depot can't get their own materials,
right across the street. And the Lowe's was fun because I went there, but it's literally right across the street, but it just was in the right spot. They said it was an F3, and it was like 0.76 miles wide on the ground.
Damn.
But like there's a couple restaurants that we go to that are just gone.
Really?
A couple like family owned places are just gone. We had there's a place that they take vans and turn them into handicap accessible vans with the hand drive and stuff. And their building is just mangled. No telling. I mean, it's bad. I've seen, I rode out Hurricane Ike here, and the eye wall went right over us. And I've seen the damage from hurricane, but that compact damage from a F3 tornado is like nothing I've ever seen.
Where I lived in Louisiana yesterday, the kids go through these things and they don't think they're serious. And they laugh it off and joke and everything. But where I was in Louisiana, we had one come through and it hit a small private school, small Christian private school, and hit a bathroom that this teacher had gotten kids into the bathroom and hit the bathroom. Luckily, none of the kids were hurt, but it tore roof and tore off like their gymnasium, and the kids were at the school. So I've seen it hit a school. So anyways, we're all safe. We're good. So yeah, if you need a rack or cage, it's still open. You can go get one made.
Yep.
Also, shout out to our friends over at Wiregrass Exotics. If you're in Alabama area, go check out Wiregrass Exotics for all of your reptile needs. Let's run through our herp shows real quick. Y'all just had a herp show?
Yes.
In Longview. Saturday was good, right?
Yeah. For Longview, it was good.
Which that show's moving, right?
Moving to
Shreveport. So if you've gone to the Longview show, or if you are farther east towards Mississippi and you're like, oh man, Longview is so far away in Texas, it'll be in Shreveport next time. So go check it out in Shreveport. The big show though, this weekend, my birthday weekend, is in Conroe, Texas. So if you're in the area, come by Conroe, Texas and check it out. That should be a good one. Then Corpus Christi is February 25th, 26th. Then we mentioned this last week, the Baton Rouge show, which is technically Gonzales, Louisiana, but it's the Baton Rouge show is replacing the New Orleans show. Which I'd much rather not have to go to New Orleans. I've been there enough. I'm good.
I saw a thing today that the crime has gotten there's another show that has announced a New Orleans show.
Yeah.
In New Orleans, which is crazy because everything is illegal in New Orleans, but we're going to leave it at that. And I was somebody mentioned one of our friends that lives there. It's like, yeah, I wouldn't go to that convention center if you paid me because every car in the parking lot gets broken into now. Yeah. And so I pulled up, you could pull up LexisNexis, and it's like every reported felony in New Orleans. It's just in the last month. There's probably 1,000 car burglaries in that area.
What happens when your police force begins to quit?
Yeah, like 60% of the police force quit.
So, but that show's been moved to Baton Rouge. It technically is in Gonzales, Louisiana, but it's a great venue. I've been there before. There's been other shows there before. This one will be a million times better. If you've ever been to other reptile shows at that venue in Gonzales, Louisiana, this will not be like that show. This will be a million times better than that show.
Yeah.
So that is March 4th and 5th. The Bryan College Station show is March 11th and 12th. Then out to Waco, Texas, March 25th and 26th. Then back over to Slidell, Louisiana, which is such a better show than the New Orleans show. April 1st and 2nd. I'm glad I'm not going to be at that show on April Fool's Day. Austin, Texas is April 22nd, 23rd. And then back home. We're back home on May 6th and 7th at the Pearland show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about that one again. Sleeping in my own bed was amazing for a show.
Own bed's awesome.
You got talking to the microphone.
It's right.
You're talking above the microphone. And
So
you got talking into
It
them.
keeps sliding. It's
I'm
not
not
safe.
excited to sleep in my own bed. I'm excited not to have to pay to sleep in a bed that weekend.
That is true. That is true.
I mean, both.
I mean, I like my bed, but I could sleep anywhere, but I like to not spend about
I sleep better in
$200.
my
I could
bed.
start charging you for your own bed if
I
that
was
way if
saying,
you want
I
to get.
can charge you.
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, come check us out at Conroe this weekend. Oh, I have snakes at the show. I know it's been like over a year since I've had snakes at a show, or it feels like it at least. But I will have Annery Samboas. Come check out the Lone Star Reptile racks, and then look for the little tiny snakes that are in there. Not they won't be in the racks; they'll be in a set, but they'll be at that table. Because we will also be set up for the podcast out in the lobby. So if you are listening and you come through, say hey to us. I don't know who Facebook user is, but yes, snakes. I hate that Facebook. Anyways, but yeah, I do breed snakes once every like 4 or 5 years. So I will have some baby Samboas. I do have a boa that I don't want to get my hopes up. I think she's pregnant.
Oh, really?
And if she's pregnant, she's due in less than a month. But I don't want to get my hopes up.
Is that the really mean one that we can't?
Oh yeah, no, she's evil.
Okay.
Yeah, taking babies away from her is going to be great.
Well, It's Me is a great comment Facebook user, but you gotta give us a little more.
That's
of a hint.
Dax.
Oh,
And then the other one that's Jeremy. That's our guest. The one that tagged Jess and Byron.
yeah. No, the snakes. Dax is a retake person, so I'm not surprised he doesn't know how to use technology or anything else. They're retake people. They're a little off.
Hey,
Other
Taylor's
things.
awesome.
Our giveaway. Don't forget our giveaway this month is a calendar from our friend Brittany Gobble over at Gobble's Reptiles. And the calendars, well, there's one right here. Rachel's holding one, and there's one on the wall. She sent us these blood python calendars that look freaking amazing.
Awesome.
They are. They're great. And she sent us some stickers.
Oh, I got stickers too. I got to put them on my freezer. I got my rat freezer, all my snake stickers on it. So all you have to do is go over to our Facebook page, and it's pinned at the top. You just have to tell us what 2 reptiles you would combine and why. If you could combine any 2 reptiles, tell us why. I think I'd go with Draco lizards, like a fly,
Mm-hmm.
and then like an emerald tree boa. Just imagine an emerald tree boa with those giant teeth coming at you, flying through the jungle.
I mean, that's stuff a nightmare.
Be freaking amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's the closest I can get to a dragon. So just I want a flying emerald tree boa just come flying in people's face. Not my face. I will stay far away from it. But just go over there, check it out. Click on there. Tell us what 2 reptiles you would combine, and you can be in the drawing for your own blood python calendar, just like the one here behind me. I think that's it. I think I've covered everything. Until I haven't, something else will come up. I'm sure.
I'm sure.
I'm sure.
It is what it is.
But let's go ahead and get to our guest. Bring our guest in. If I can find where my mouse went, there it is. And welcome, Jeremy from Ace's Reptile Emporium. How's it going, Jeremy?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Not much. You were at the Longview show with Robert. That's how Robert and Rachel
Yeah,
told me about you.
Yeah, I was down there. It was a pretty good show, actually, as far as customer counts go.
So what all do you have? I guess breed, sell, what?
We do a little bit of everything. So breed wise, we've got red tail boas, we've got sand boas, hog noses, corns, kings. Working on Madagascan giant hog nose. If I can get them to breed, that'd be awesome.
Nice.
Just a little bit of everything as far as breeding goes. And then we do a lot of collection buyouts, breeder buyouts. So our table is usually full of all kinds of random stuff. Got some sailfin dragons right now, frill dragons, stuff like that.
Self-in dragons are cool.
She's a little baby, but she's actually sitting right next to the laptop, so I keep glancing over. But yeah, no, I'm excited for when she gets bigger. It'll be fun.
So what I'm gonna jump. What bows do you have?
Right now we've got Colombian red tails as the kind of the bigger ones we're dealing with. Got,
Are you working morphs or?
Yeah, I think we've got about 8 females going this year.
Oh wow!
2 of those are going to be albino clutches and junglo clutches, and
Are you
then
working with call or sharp?
all of those are calls. I do have some sharps that are growing out, be ready next year.
I'm a call fan, so
Yeah.
every time I talk to somebody nowadays, it's VPI, and I'm like, no, I don't do that. I do
No,
call.
I don't have any VPI in the coal collection. It's no, most of them are calls. Like I said, I do have a couple sharp females going next year, so we'll see how that goes. But a little bit mixed up, pastels and motleys and hypos and things.
I'm hoping if everything goes well, I will have motley sun glows next
That'd be
month. Super excited. This will also be the first boas I've produced from a boa that I produced.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
Yes, I'm excited with that.
So
Yeah, this is our
when
first
you-
year. This will be our first year actually breeding 2 of our baby albinos. So we're excited about that one too.
When
always
is he coming
fun.
to visit my motley?
I don't know yet. I got to make sure. I've had to separate them for a while, but we'll bring them over there.
Okay.
I also need to bring my other male back down. And anyways, breeding plans, figure all that out later. But
It's always changing anyway.
yes.
Yes.
Well, because it always depends. Like you put things together and then they don't want to do anything. Or
Mhm.
like for mine, they did stuff for like 2 months and yet nothing ever took. So that's not filling me with confidence about that male.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's the one
we ran into
that-
that last year with corns. We bred a couple different corns, only one of them took. So we'll try again this year.
That sucks. Yeah, no, this is it's not the same male that I'm planning on. The one that I'm planning on breeding with yours is the one that I'm pretty sure knocked up mine. Again, I don't want to get my hopes up because like with boas, they always look fat, but it's like that last month they really start to swell up, and she looks. Like
I had one that swelled up all year last year, didn't lay. We just started putting males and females together, and we go to check on them, and one of my females has babies down there. I was like, I got her giving up hope that she was going to lay. Like, so
I've been there. I get to the point in the last month where I'm like, I look at it like multiple times. I go, could be, but it might not be.
and they
And
just
then,
hold
like,
it
my
for so
wife's
long, you just kind of forget when they actually took. You know?
Yeah, well, and then my wife's like, no, she definitely looks pregnant. I'm like, kinda, but she could just be fat. I mean, granted, I haven't really fed her that much in now 4 months, but she could just be fat.
We've got a
So-
Saharan sandboa like that too. Like hadn't eaten in a month, but looks like she's going to pop any day. You know?
I had a Samboa that I was way off on when she was gonna have babies, and I walked in there one day and I was changing a water dish. Here comes a little baby moving around. I was like, oh shit! I was like
Oh,
a month and a half.
Those
off.
babies, the babies love the water dish. I don't know what it is. They go right up underneath it every time.
Yeah, and I did the math. I'm like, I don't know how is it that far off. I'm like, I guess I had the male with it. I don't know.
That's what scares me about venomous.
Mm.
Is I just open it up one day to do maintenance and bam, get bit by a little something.
Yeah, I just
Like,
figure everything I breed 4 weeks after I breed it, I just start looking for babies. Like I'm not taking chances. I'll keep looking for babies.
I was like, that's what I would probably do.
Well, it's like I told you, my friend that had the copperhead that had Partho babies.
Oh yeah.
He didn't even fucking breed them, and he
That's
went
right.
in there and started reaching around, and there were baby copperheads.
Oh yeah,
So that shit would scare me. Jason Miloradovich said producing from animals that you produced as babies is one of the coolest feelings. Yeah, I cannot wait. But again, there's 2 reasons I don't get my hopes up. And I think a lot of people that get into breeding and they've never bred before, they don't think of these 2 things. One, there's a great chance that she lays an entire litter of stillborns or slugs.
oh yeah.
It definitely
I mean, especially with live birth stuff. The live birth is insane for that. Like, I mean, you almost always lose the first clutch. You know, you might get a
Yeah,
couple live ones in there, but
I'm worried about that doing my doom rolls for the first time. You know that.
oh yeah,
From what I gather, neither one of them have ever bred before. But
Gotta talk into
them,
the
so
mic.
I don't really know. I
Just
can't
talking
get
down
any
again.
closer to the mouth.
You can.
In my
See,
mouth.
see how like here's the microphone, and here's my mouth. Now you just
Okay.
copy the same thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've put your mouth on. I'm just saying you could probably do this.
It's been a while.
Oh, fuck off.
you kind of forgets how.
I couldn't resist.
Now
Sorry,
it's going to
babe.
be even longer. You just screwed yourself.
It's gonna have to now if it's longer.
Geez, just keep going.
Might as well dig the hole, right?
Fuck it.
Oh
Once you
man,
get the shovel out, you might as well go deeper. You know?
That's right.
that's what she said. So Jason Miloradovich asked if I was checking the female's temperatures. She said this far along she should be elevated if she's gravid. I only open that cage to fill in the water dish. That's it. Like if anybody were to look in that cage and go, "Oh God, this thing is horribly dirty," and it's not really that dirty, but I haven't changed anything. I haven't done shit. I've left her in there in her own filth because I found mini snakes feel much more comfortable. And I don't mean filth. She's not like sitting in wet
No,
bedding
it's
and
not bad at all.
no, but like it's dry in there. But I don't want to mess with her. Plus, she's like, oh, I was gonna say a word that people really get upset. Oh, bitch. I was gonna say the C word, which I don't think is that bad, but man, that really bothers people.
She is.
Which is weird 'cause I don't think
She's a handful.
It's not that bad of a word.
You mean
Yeah.
cunt? Okay. Anyways, she's not that friendly.
No.
And so I'm hoping I catch her like right when she has the babies, because they're kind of tired and worn out, and it'll be much easier to remove her, and maybe she won't have goo all over her that I have to clean up off of her, because that's not going to be fun. Because for those out there that have snakes that lay eggs, boa births are gooey.
I was gonna say, they don't have that same problem with the egg ones, you know.
Yeah, no, they're gooey. Well, like you don't have that problem with like
Sambos
Sambos.
aren't like Sambos aren't bad.
Yeah, and I've talked about before on here. There's two different types of live birth. So there's the live birth that boa constrictors have, where everything comes out. It's just all goo. And then there is the one like Sambos have, where they hatch internally, and then they just give birth to a baby, which is so much easier to clean up. But with that said, I do love the goo. Like it's awesome.
I'm excited
little
about
egg
it
sacs
because
running
it'll be
around.
my first time.
Yes, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
It takes a while to clean it up. Like it really smears. It's gooey. So for ball python people, it may gross them out.
I mean, I clean houses for a living,
That is true.
so
That is true. So, I want to go over the question. We had a lot of answers on the question we asked this week. Let me find where I posted it, and then you also posted it. But
I
the
posted
question, we talked, and the topic came up, and I kind of reworded it, but it was, what is the number one thing you take into consideration when pricing animals for sale, and why? And obviously, like, if you're not a breeder, you may not be used to selling them, you may not really know, but a lot of the folks that comment on here, they do breed, and a lot of our friends are from shows, they breed. So I'm gonna go through them, and then we'll talk about how we price stuff.
Yeah, I think you actually, just kind of hit it right there too. Like, there's a lot of people that sell animals that don't breed them, and I think that kind of varies on what they base pricing off of and how they come up with their pricing. I mean, if you're selling 1 or 2 snakes a year, that's one thing as pets, but if you're selling hundreds, then you might have a little different value in pricing.
Yes. I'll just real quick, Miloradovich, you can suck a dick. Just wanted to throw that out there. He asked if I had waterproof gloves to handle the gooey babies.
No,
I don't wear gloves for babies when I'm getting them out of the cage, but I do wear gloves after about a week when they want to bite me, because I'm not getting bit by 20
I don't
babies.
use gloves. I use snakes on. I don't use gloves on babies. I don't know.
Oh, I use gloves all the time. I'm not.
I
Getting
use
bit.
gloves on. I've got a macaw that I'll use gloves on, or if I'm handling like raccoons or skunks or something, I've got Kevlar gloves. But
Because with the macaw, unless you've got, that's not going to work. It's going to bite your finger off anyways. It doesn't.
yeah, I was gonna say. We'll show you the macaw if you want. She'll tear you up in a heartbeat.
I would say it'll just snap your finger off. It'll just snap your finger off in the glove, so you'll just have.
The Kevlar beads help, but that's about it. So,
But going through here, Becca, our friends over at the Learning Zeus, said we hold back carpet pythons for quite some time to see what their coloring looks like before selling. That is tricky. That's what we've talked about it before. That's a species where the baby does not look its best. I make fun of ball pythons, but ball pythons in the first month or so look great. That is like the best they're going to look, and then 3 or 4 years later,
they dull out. Yeah,
it's not going to look as great as you think it is. And I get someone is sitting there going, "That's not true for this morph." Shut the fuck up. You know what I meant. Damn ball python people.
we breed a couple balls, so
Yeah, not everybody's perfect.
we try to stay away from them. We do 2 or 3 a year, and that's about it.
I don't blame you. Drew, also part Becca, said normally I base it off of what similar animals are going for a morph market, which was a common recurring thing, and that has really changed. We've talked about before. It's really changed the hobby, especially pricing wise. I think it has made it better and worse in some cases.
Morph market completely changed the way. I don't want to say saved the market, but it saved the breeders for sure.
Yeah, you don't get the low ball. I remember going to a show once and having to sell my hypo boas for I think it was $60 when I could have easily at a normal show got 150 off of them.
Mm-hmm.
But the next person over was selling them at 50. I was like, well, shit, if I want to sell anything to cover this table, I've got to knock it down to 60. I was like, what the hell are we selling? But that was a while back, and morph market has changed that. Now, one thing morph market I think has stopped, unfortunately, is is as much of the Sunday deals.
Yeah.
When I first got into the hobby, if you could hold out until Sunday and hope that your animal that you want doesn't sell, you could probably talk the person out some money. And you can still do that a little bit here and there, but it's a little harder now because everybody kind of knows what things are going for, and they know if they don't sell it that Sunday, they'll sell it next Saturday or whatever, right? So, or they'll sell it on morph market. So some of that has stopped. But Amanda Reddy our friends over at Reddy's Rainforest said, first, it's how much it costs to raise the animal they're selling. I mean, they sell panther chameleons and they raise those things up for a while.
Yes, they do.
The minimum for panthers is 3 months. Each month we care for them, of course, adds to their cost of life, but we don't follow pricing trends. We let the animal value themselves as in base cost to raise and color pattern. I'm confused by the last sentence, but I get it. They're also breeding very specific locale panther chameleons.
Yeah.
And they are amazing. We had them on here several episodes ago and had some of the best looking panther chameleons I've ever seen. So whatever they price them at, they're worth it. But we talked about before. That's a tricky one where like you have to fight against some of the wild caught stuff, especially when Florida exists and you can go down there and catch everything.
Yeah, if I was ever decide to buy a panther chameleon, it will be from
Lee
and Amanda for sure.
They're amazing with
After having them on the show and seeing how passionate they are about them and how great of care they take. That sounded stupid. The great care they take of the animals.
Words are hard.
Shut up now.
Well, but see, now I think with them, when we're talking about pricing, you have to add in price for Lee and Amanda.
Sure, because you're going to get their support forever.
Yeah, they are a breeder that if you have a problem, you call them and they'll walk you through everything. They'll talk to you. They'll talk your ears off in a good way. But you're paying for them also, so the price is worth it there.
Yeah, I mean, now you're down to, like you said, wild caught and everything. But if you're dealing with someone like that who's breeding just panther chameleons, you're going to get a little more lineage information. You're going to get a little more quality, a little more colors, things of that nature. Versus, someone like me, yes, I breed chameleons and we don't do them anymore, but, I breed a little bit of everything. So you're going to get a little mix, and it's not like I'm only focusing my time on those panther chameleons.
Yeah, and not on you, but you're not line breeding a panther chameleon for 4 or 5 generations, right? You're breeding and selling, and that's fine. It's just you got to know who you're buying from and what you're buying, I think. And that's another one we'll get into, but the breeder side or the seller side needs to also be more truthful in what they're selling as well. Which happens.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, if you're not, and that goes back to old school versus new school. Back in the day, they'd bring in sacks full of imports and put them on the table. They still do, but now it's a little more clear cut. What's import, what's captive bred. But I mean, if you're going to sell something, number one, you've got to be accurate on what you're selling, and then number two, you got to stand behind it.
Yeah.
I mean, we do 2-week guarantee on everything we sell. Whether we produced it or bought it or anything. Like, we quarantine everything 30 days when we get it, and we do a 2-week guarantee when we sell it. I mean, it's just, if you're not going to stand behind it, then it doesn't do any good, And
that's awesome, because I've been to shows, watch somebody come in with an animal they shouldn't have come in with because you're not allowed to, sell it to
you see it all the time,
or trade it to the person, and then that person puts it on the table and then sells it. I'm like, you have no idea if that thing's eating, mites, anything about, like, you just got it from this random person and now you're selling it to somebody else, and they're going to lie their ass off when they sell it that yes, it's eaten this 3 days ago, and so that's going to happen.
And when you sell a snake at a show, I mean, sometimes they go on hunger strikes and getting used to the new habitats and stuff. And like we tell everybody, like, as long as you message me within the first 2 weeks, like, we're going to go back and forth all we need to, and if we need to refund it 2 months from now, we will. Like, it's just the way it is.
So Darren Watson in the chat says, have shows always been 2-day shows in the South? Yeah, that's a huge difference I've learned between Southern shows and Northern shows. Northern shows, just talking to all my friends, are 1-day shows, which I guess have their benefits. No hotel costs. That would keep Robert happy. And if people are coming to it, they're definitely buyers. Like, I say definitely, but more likely buyers that day. You don't have to hope to cover 2 days because it's just going to be that 1 day. But I do like the 2-day shows because I'm a social butterfly and I got to spread my wings. And I like hanging out for 2 days.
Rachel too.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of setup involved when you do these shows. Like, the vendors that have, more than one table, it's a lot of work setting up tables and breaking them down. And
yeah, I couldn't imagine.
You do all that in 1 day, and it's rough.
I couldn't imagine some of our vendors doing a 1-day show. Has the setup they do doing a 1-day show.
Even like us, I wouldn't want to do that. It takes us about 4 hours to unload and set up. That's if
we do a 1-day show, and we have 6 tables at that 1-day show, and it's
Jesus.
We have 125 animals that we brought last time, so it gets a little tricky.
Yeah, I'll pass on that. I'm not much for a 1-day show, but I see the benefit. But that's definitely more a northern thing. In the South, most of the show circuits are 2-day, and then the big shows are 2-day shows. NARBC's 2 days, Daytona's a 2-day show. Kind of a 3-day show if you get there early.
The random 1-day
you still got to talk into the microphone.
I'm telling you, it's dropping. It's not staying. It's not me.
So you're saying it's just like going limp?
Yes.
Do a better job.
I don't have that problem.
Apparently you do.
not with normal things. The 1 day Conroe was a effing nightmare.
But it was so
But
good.
it was so great.
Sold
at the
so
same
much shit that
time.
day.
It was.
Well, that's so the 1 day shows. I mean, like you talking about buyers. I mean, it's you're kind of forced to buy it right then and there. You don't wait to see if it's going to be there the next day.
That 1 day show created the one. When you're in sales, the one thing you try to create is a sense of urgency.
Mm-hmm.
You want to build value and you want to build a sense of urgency.
Insane.
That created a sense of urgency right there. And man, it made it nice because people were just walking up. I'll take that one and I'll take that one. I mean, it was like no talking, no haggling, no nothing. It was just sell
It was
that
great,
day.
but it was horrible at the same time.
It was
Janelle just
weird
walked
to-
in the reptile room, so I'm gonna make her say hi real quick.
It was weird to set up on Friday and then not be able to go there Saturday.
Yeah.
In case y'all never met my wife, it's my wife.
There's Janelle.
Well,
So
Hello.
she's been moving crested geckos around in the background, so I made her come over here for a minute.
all the fun stuff.
Oh,
We're
so
talking about
Lizard
1 day shows, 2 day
Lizard
shows.
Morph said 1 day shows in Australia and they're small. Compared, yeah. Well, we have small shows over here. The ones you tend to see online tend to be in ARBC because everybody posts pictures from Arlington or from the
Right.
huge shows out in California. But I've seen some videos from some American guys that go over to Australia and some of their shows and like they're in like a gymnasium, like it's kind of small. But it's also different. I mean, y'all also, I mean, it's a country full of reptiles, but you don't have the number of reptiles we have at a show because you can only have native, so it's different.
Yeah. See what Lee and Amanda said. They wait till you see our setup in Conroe, change some of the setup. It's gonna look nice.
We're gonna have a loudspeaker
Can't
now
wait.
so everybody can hear them when they're talking. Miller Average, the 2 day shows are nice because they bring vendors from farther away, but 1 day show is nice for folks that need to be back a day on Monday morning. Right back. I get that.
That's our rough part. I got to be at work at 6 o'clock in the morning, so we do shows like Longview that are 5 hours from us, and it's rough getting back, unpacking, trying to go
Yeah.
sleep.
I don't know if that's an Australian phrase or if it's just special.
I don't know.
I like it. I'm gonna start using that.
Our shows are shitful, but I don't know in what way that goes. Is that a positive thing
Yeah, I'm
We need to,
or is it a negative thing? Or that microphone is nowhere near your mouth now. You're being ridiculous. You're being ridiculous now.
Fucking mess with me.
You're about to have to hold it.
I don't want to
So,
hold it.
according to Urban Dictionary, it is full of unpleasantness, inferiority, or something distasteful. Completely shitty.
We all need to
Full
call
of
up
shit.
Full of
Sean.
bullshit.
Yep.
We need to call
That's
Sean
awesome
and tell him the
slang.
shows are shitful and see what he says.
I'm so disappointed that I missed the night that he was on.
Yeah. That is shitful. I have to use that now.
We're going to use it in every interview this weekend. In Conroe.
I just
Yeah.
Yeah, for anybody listen, we are going to do I'm trying to aim for at least 6 interviews in Conroe to give us 2 months worth of episodes to take breaks on. But that is the goal. Let me get, go ahead.
So for y'all that weren't at Longview, Janelle did have a birthday.
She
So
did.
I'll just tell her happy birthday again.
And she kept bringing me cake. Here, eat some more cake.
Oh, there's.
What are you
some more
doing?
I
You're
asked
up my
Sean to grab a
nose.
cake. I grabbed
Yeah.
Sean a cake. I told him to grab a cake for her, and I figured a little small personal cake, and he brings this one that could feed the whole venue twice.
Yes.
And I think it did.
I
It
would say
did.
it said every single person who would eat a cake.
It was funny because Don Shores walked over and he's like, "Where'd you get that cake?" I'm like, "Take this piece."
I was
Go
like, I'll
for
go
it.
get you
Another
one,
one.
Don.
Okay.
He's like, what about yourself? I'm like, I don't eat cake.
So it's Australia Day. That's a thing?
And I'm teaching you, Aussie, how good.
If y'all missed it on Sunday, she also got a little love tap from one of our red tails at the show. So
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Nice.
saw that.
one of
See
our,
it
you're
on
not
there.
going to see it. I don't think
She
Yeah.
came to me for a Band-Aid.
Yep. I
Well,
was
it is
it's nice
Aussie
and
Day.
black and
It's
blue
Oh, it's
Australia
now.
bruised
Day.
now. She got it right on top of the
Nice.
hand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
it was it hit
Unless
her
I got
vein
punched
almost.
Jeremy in the face.
No, my adults, it would not be a love tap. It would be a trip to the ER to stitch
Yeah,
up some
most
shit.
of the time they're like, they're trying to tag, and this one was just being all calm and just randomly just bit down and let go. So,
Yeah.
So
got it right on top of the hand. So
Australia Day. It's the
Australia Day.
anniversary of the 1788 landing of Britain's first fleet, which began the area of colonization. It was also when indigenous people began being oppressed, massacred, dispossessed of their lands, and cut off from their culture.
He said it's like the fourth for us.
But it's different.
Yeah.
The 4th, we were already here for a while,
Yeah,
and then we got freedom from those damn Brits.
yeah.
And then we decided fireworks were the way to celebrate that day. Now the 4th of July is the day that many people will have 10 fingers for the last time.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Uh,
Who is it that talks about Easter? the super pale comedian that talks about the hot pockets and stuff.
Oh, Jim Gaffigan.
Jim Gaffigan, and he's like, "How did they come up with Easter? Oh, let's have a bunny. Bunny, what does it have? Dummy eggs."
Australia Day seems weird because like we didn't ship a whole bunch of criminals to hang out here and keep them trapped and then call it a country. Just saying, Australia.
I don't know. Different strokes.
There's this huge debate here to change the date and have a day for everyone.
Yeah, I was just reading a thing on BBC about how a lot of young people are shunning that holiday.
I imagine there's some darker skinned people in Australia that wouldn't mind a day that goes towards them. I just love that. I love humans. We get somewhere like, I found this, and then someone pops out of the bushes. Hey, nope, I found this.
Right. I have guns and typhoid. We'll just kill all of you. Yeah.
I love that we've moved away from Columbus Day. Really, we've been like, we probably shouldn't celebrate that guy.
Right.
He was kind of a dick,
right?
And he didn't really do anything. He kind of got lost, lucked into the wrong place, and we celebrate him. And then we kind of ignore the fact that Vikings were here first, which I'd much rather change it from Columbus Day to like Leif Erikson Day or something to celebrate Vikings. We just all go around.
Yeah, we should all get on board with that one.
Yeah, just lighting shit on fire and throwing it out in the ocean, letting it float away. I'm all for that. Let's
torching people's houses when we don't like them. You know, it's fun.
Oh, don't worry. You can get started on the U.S. because I'm cool with that.
Yeah, no, we've done lots of fucked up things.
We can bash on everybody. That's fine.
Fuck it. So our friend Corey Martin is in South Africa, and I thought it was funny. She got stopped by some Australians in South Africa, and they asked where she was from, and she told them Texas, and she said they made visual winced when they realized she was from Texas. So I told her, I said, just tell them you know why you're from down under. That way it's easier for you to suck it.
She said that she told him she's from the good part of Texas, and everybody that doesn't live in Austin was like, that's subjective.
Yes.
I agree. I'd much rather be a Viking than a convict. That is,
yes.
The Vikings had it. I mean, they did kill a bunch of people and then rape and pillage, but I mean,
aside from that, though,
they didn't hide from it. They didn't pretend it didn't happen.
True.
So
there's no revisionist history when it comes to the Vikings.
It's slowly
trying to sit down for a minute. You want to
Tighten it up, James. You can reach it. It's right there.
no, it's this screw needs to be tightened, and I don't have a screwdriver,
Gotcha.
so I can't screw it right now. I'll have to screw it later.
Great. I'd rather not be here. So
screw it when I leave, please.
Going back to these answers that we got way off talking about Australia and Vikings.
That's okay. What we do.
I can't believe we got off topic. That never happens.
Never.
So Brittany over at Repticulture said, we have a rule in the shop, nothing under $100. And most of the time my base is $125. The animal is the cheapest part of owning the animal. So if the animal is priced at a price that is disposable, the care won't be the greatest because they just replace it, which is totally true.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just where we start. And from the lineage, it plays a hand in the market value as well as expression on the animal. It's unbelievably amazing expression of the species, color markings, etc. That plays a factor. But I do like that there's no quote unquote cheap animals in their store.
Yeah.
You see a lot of that at the shows too. A lot of they always go for the cheapest animals, especially the new pets. They don't want to spend a lot of money on the new pet because if it dies, versus doing the research and making sure it doesn't die.
So I'm torn on, and I know y'all kind of fall in this category, but
you gotta
I'm
kind of
torn.
balance it. I mean, it's
I'm torn on resellers because I get owning a business. Our buddy JT also sells animals that he didn't produce, and I get that he's got a pet store, but I think he does it pretty well. And several of our friends at the shows do it very well. But we know there are those out there that
we've got a guy, just whatever. But the businesses that they buy something like you said at the shows, they'll buy it at the show and post it online that same day. It's no quarantine, no checking it themselves for anything. I mean, you can't get an animal, especially reptiles, an hour later, sell them and hope that they're fine.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, okay, if I buy something from Robert, I know him. I would trust his animals, but you don't know anybody walking to the show. You don't know anybody buying online.
Right.
You just, and even if I bought something from Robert, I'm not going to put it on the table right then and there to sell it.
Nope.
But we see it happen all the time.
I might do it the next show, if it's already come home eaten and everything else, but. No, it happens all the time. I mean, we've sold animals to to other vendors, and then seen them right there on their tables and stuff, and it's like, okay, cool. It doesn't bother me none. I know my stuff's healthy, but you just wonder who else does that kind of stuff.
Right.
Just to revisit the question we were asked, what the question was, it was, what is the number one thing you take into consideration when pricing animals for sale and why? Let's go with our friend Ashley Howdy. The Howdy's over at Focus Cube. Said number one thing when pricing, availability of quality genetics, She also breeds like high end
Crested
crested geckos. So that entails a lot of things such as what gene you have, its availability, the quality of lineage, but that is the overarching theme. And so again, I think that also depends on what you're breeding too. I mean, she's breeding a higher end animal lineage, definitely, because it's, if you want someone to pay that price for it, you got to prove it's worth that price in their mind.
Yeah, I mean, now you're talking about like, she breeds crested geckos and gargoyle geckos, and now we're trying to do Leachianas this year. And if we buy collections out or breeders out, we sell them a lot lower than if we're, producing the stuff ourselves and can track the backgrounds. I mean, especially it seems like on geckos, everyone wants to know the lineage of them. I mean, a lot of our geckos we can trace back to great grandparents, and it's that kind of stuff. They want to see what those parents look like, and they see that quality. You start breeding different, breeds like balls to get different genetics and things like that. So obviously those are priced a little higher.
Yeah. The funny thing about lineage though, because like you talk to some gecko people and they can trace lineage back here, and they're like, get it with Carl, and he starts tracing lineage back to some of his leechies. Then you talk to a ball python person, they couldn't fucking tell you who the parent was to that animal. It just happened to have the right color, and so they bought it.
I've got a buddy right now that just had babies this past few months ago, and he doesn't even know who the parents were or anything. Like, you just wait till the eggs hatch to find out who the dad was, because they're just throwing everything together,
Amanda Reddy said people want chameleons, but not the price, which is true. Then they buy a $50 veiled chameleon, and usually a wild caught Florida veiled chameleon. They can't compete with that. And that's true. To an average person, it's a chameleon, but it's not. I mean, if I hold a wild caught veiled chameleon next to one of the Reddies panther chameleons, it's not even fucking close as to what they look like. But
it's totally opposite. But they go for those cheaper species.
Yeah, and in their head, because they've seen enough cartoons,
and they don't know how to care for them properly.
Well, that's true. But in their head, they'll go, chameleons change colors. Well, no, your veiled chameleon goes from green to other color shades of green.
Let's say dark green. It's dark green and bright green.
I hope you like green. You're not going to get all those colors. It's not the same thing.
Or, my favorite is like somebody posted earlier in a group here in Texas. Does anybody have any free lizards? I can't really afford anything, but I have a 20-gallon long that I could put it in, and people are like, if you can't afford the fucking lizard, how are you going to feed it?
Yeah.
So no.
Or it's will you trade a ball python for a lychee?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you take this normal ball python for this $1,000 plus lychee. Yeah.
I promise you, at least once a week, we have people trying to sell us normal ball pythons.
I believe it.
At least once a week.
So Luke from Lizard Morph said he had a guy agree to buy a lizard off him. Then another person sent the photo of Luke's lizard to him, asking if they should buy it.
I saw that on Facebook this week.
So
Actually, it was
Luke was
yesterday.
like, nope.
So he canceled the transaction because the guy's trying to sell an animal he doesn't even own yet.
Yeah,
Yeah, we had someone buy a ferret from us, and talking about her son and parents wanted, her dad wanted it so bad or whatever, and then had it posted 2 days later. I'm like, yeah, but we were selling them. If you wanted to buy them, but don't make up this huge sob story,
Yeah.
Darren says he's been to Lee and Amanda's website and didn't think the prices are outrageous. I agree because I remember when I got into this hobby over 20 years ago, the panther chameleons were fucking expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they've come down actually. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, you can now own, because I always remember thinking, I can't pay $700, $600, $700 for an animal that I'm not going to breed and that's only going to live 5 years. I can't do it. But now they're a little easier. Plus, they're easier to take care of.
There's more research out there now.
Yeah, there's better products. People can walk you through the process. The Reddies can walk you through this. So, yeah, it's a different world now when it comes to stuff like that. Jake Hole said he for his answer, how much they or very similar animals are being sold currently on Morph Market. Again, going back to Morph Market. Being newer in the hobby, this is the best way I can figure in order to not totally be off in left field. Second thing I consider when setting the price is knowing the quality of how I've been keeping my animals. Husbandry, one way is that we breed our own rats, and we make sure, so he has his own feeders and he makes sure the health of the feeders are good too. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about before, when it comes to newer people in the hobby want a price there, we'll go with ball pythons because there's a million people in that show.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what most people start out breeding. They're easy to breed. They're on the cheaper end, and there's nothing really wrong with them. They're just common.
They'll set up from across from a well-established ball python breeder and wonder why their snake of the exact same genes can't sell for the same price as the person across the way, right? Because
nobody's ever heard of you, man.
Yeah, there's another thing. Granted, some of these animals, the lineage isn't isn't that important, but the name behind the person that bred it is important.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, your snake, as much as you think that snake, because that person is selling theirs for that price, if it's your very first clutch or litter, yours probably aren't going to be worth that much.
I mean, y'all remember, y'all are all have been in this industry long enough. Greg Graziani.
Yeah.
You know, he used to set up in Daytona, and I remember seeing him with, you know, a pastel for 10 grand on his table. And that's what it used to be worth that, you know?
Well, not only that,
When it
it's
first
also
came
the
out.
communication you have with your customers as well, how you communicate with them, talk to them about care, and, you know, pretty much become that friend with that customer.
Yes.
Kind of build your reputation, and you can put money in your reputation, you know?
Well, that's one thing that as this hobby has become more mainstream, you've gotten people that customer service is not the number one thing in their mind. It's purely making money. Granted, in the long run, those people tend to work their way out of the hobby.
It just
But in
takes
the
a
short-
while sometimes.
Yeah. In the short term, we still have to deal with those people at shows, and it's a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just makes it, especially when, again, you've been breeding something for years and you've got it priced at a certain price, and they're buying wholesale lots off of somebody who's just trying to get rid of stuff, and they're selling it for half the price you would.
Mhm.
You know,
Actually,
that
I had
sucks.
someone comment on one of mine talking about that. You know, they don't want to price their stuff lower than anybody else at the show, even if they already had planned on pricing it lower, because they don't want to be that asshole that everybody hates because
Yeah.
they're selling stuff cheaper.
Yep.
And it's,
Well, yeah. So I sell Samboas when I have them, and our buddy JT also sells Samboas at the
We do
same
as well.
shows usually, and I will ask him what his price is, and I'm not going to undercut JT. Like, it doesn't help me or him to do that. You know, if they want to buy it from me, buy it from me. If you want to buy it from him, buy it from him. But don't be the breeder out there. Again, it's tricky because you get so many people that are new in the hobby, especially right now. They spent all that COVID money, they bought all those snakes, and now they got to try to make money again. They got to try and pay for those
they're
snakes.
trying to make
So
the
they
money
get to,
back, and it's never going to
Yeah.
happen.
so they go to a show and they go, oh man, I got to pay $125 for this table. I got to cover this table. I got to cover our food and our hotel. I just got to move animals. So they start cutting prices on stuff. I'm like, that doesn't help you in the long run, because why would anybody think that your animals are quality if you're marking them 50% off? It doesn't help you with anybody else in the hobby, which you really should try to be building those connections with other breeders in the hobby. That's the way to really get deals on animals, make friends. You know,
Yep.
you can
Oh, yeah.
make friends with other breeders. That'll give you far better deals on animals than just trying to talk to them through Facebook Messenger.
That goes back to, I mean, the reptile community. You know, now it's kind of the reptile industry where all these new people are coming in and trying to make businesses. You know, old school, you know, I mean, anyone that's been in this thing 10 years or longer, I mean, it's really is a community. I mean, it used to be everybody helping everybody, and, you know, you're gonna have a few people trying to cut throat, you know, a few different people, but
Yeah.
for the most part, you know, like, I mean, if I call Robert and say, hey, I need a rack, you know, he's gonna hook me up with a good deal, and I don't have to worry about pricing, because
Right.
it doesn't matter what he charges, it's worth it, you know.
Yeah.
And the same thing for any other breeders out there. I mean, it's, you don't haggle over pricing, you pay what it's worth, you know, and it's worth whatever that breeder thinks it's worth.
Yeah, I agree. So Darren Watson said, what's
Sorry,
your
Rachel, I keep saying Robert, you're sitting right there too.
That's okay.
she's-
Most people associate the racks with Robert and the snakes with me.
Well, you're sitting
That's-
like dark in a little shadow behind the
I
bookshelf.
noticed I was really dark over here. In
and not talking into the microphone?
Yeah,
it
nobody can
keeps
hear it
moving,
anyway.
and everybody has seen me touch it a million times to bring it back up.
Touched what?
Blow
Use
on
your
it.
hand.
That way,
Use,
That way.
if you use both hands, and
So what did Darren say?
Darren said, I said, was your first morph market purchase from a big name breeder? He said his wasn't. However, back then I didn't know who the big names were. I was new to the social media side. I've bought off of morph market from, I guess it depends on what species you talk about. When it comes to Samboas, I've bought from bigger names than Sambo. Like big name Sambo breeders, I guess are not the same as saying big name like ball python breeders.
There's like two.
Yeah, there's like 4.
Yeah. It's like
But I've
Rufus
bought
and-
from all 4 of them.
Yeah.
We breed quite a few too. You haven't bought from us yet.
See, I got
I
one
haven't
more
gotten
Samboas.
into my higher end ones yet.
We've got some high end stuff going this year, hopefully.
I've got high end stuff. They just don't want to fuck. That's my problem.
yeah, that is.
It's only the cheap.
We're working on striped snow paints right now. So
Yeah, I got some paint stripe stuff. They're growing up. I've got some albino. And I got some snow stuff.
You
and I
have
got
one black
we
Russian.
got a lot of
paradoxes,
albino.
snake
I got
paradoxes.
albino paradox regular. I got it.
Yep.
They just the only one that wants to have sex is my regular anery and all of my normal females.
We can't get ours to stop.
I said my males are
We can't get ours to stop.
my males are breeding hogs.
We go in there to separate them, and they're still locked up.
No,
They're
my,
wrapping around your wrist.
my two very
Like, hold
expensive, my two very expensive males don't. And then I tell you that my one striped snow female did breed a couple years ago, and then she gave me 5 babies, some stillborns, and had some stuff like some slugs that she passed like a day or two later, and I thought she was going to die. She's
Yep.
still alive, but now I'm like, oh, I'll keep all these babies. I know they're at least het albino, so
Well,
they're all
have a
aneries.
male that one of them ripped one of his hemipenes off to.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that happened because there was blood on her back.
Yeah.
I haven't had our sandboas do that, but I have had a red tail do that before.
The good news is he should still have one.
Yeah.
Yep. I was gonna say they only need one, right?
I'm hoping because at $600, I need one of those penises
You're like, I
to
need
work.
this to work.
One of them's got to do something.
But yeah, so it depends. Like I've bought boas from people on Morph Market that weren't big names, but like the great thing about Morph Market is one, reviews. You have reviews there that you can pretty much trust. You can see what they have sold in the past. You can see the quality of animals from all of that, and so you can tell if someone's just popping up. Plus, you can weed out the ones who don't know how to take a fucking picture. I'm not buying from you if you can't take a picture, like a good picture. Like it's not that hard to take. Everyone's got a great camera in their pocket now.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't get me one good picture that doesn't show you holding your snake, no shirt on, barefoot, with dirty ass carpet underneath, I'm not buying that snake from you. Just know that you're stuck with that snake no matter what genes you have in it and how important you think it is. That picture of me seeing your stomach with the snake in your hand and your dirty ass carpet and your feet that need it, like no one wants to buy that from you.
Well, you're back to pricing. I mean, just those guys are half price the other ones. I mean, that's just the way it works.
Well,
I'm particular on my pictures. It has to be perfect lighting, great background.
oh yeah.
we try to do
Yeah.
it on the scale for the weights.
I do it on the scales so everybody knows the accurate weight of right when we took the picture.
Fucking ball python people, I like that. Weights.
weights.
I
How
don't-
about this one?
I don't
we
know
do
the
weights
weight.
on everything.
We have all the ones on sand boas, like baby female sand boas for $75 on Morph Market.
Hold on.
And everyone's like, how much does it weigh? I'm like, it's a
What is
baby sand boa.
So if you go to Morph Market right now and
Yeah.
you click on
the boas?
just regular boa constrictor,
Yeah.
the very first one is somebody holding it in their car.
There you go. That's
Took
the
a
one I'm
picture.
buying right there.
And there's like
That's
a
a
water
healthy snake.
bottle and the shifter
The
and
car.
What are the genes in that snake?
het leopard, pos het albino, het blood.
How much they want for
They
it?
just bought it from a
235.
show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everything. Possible everything.
Yep.
That's what big ball breeders are doing now. Like every snake they produce is possible this. And I'm like, I've just never done that. Like if it's not that, I'm not marking it as that. I mean,
That's why like you could
I'll
buy
tell
corn.
people that it might be, but like I've never labeled a snake like that. It's just not. I don't know.
If I was a corn snake breeder, that would be fun because you could buy a corn snake from anybody, and I guarantee there are 5 genes that are not marked on that deli cup.
Oh yeah.
I've got.
Right there.
You talk about corns. I just have to read this one for you. It's albino, tessera, het lavender, het motley, het hypo, female.
Or have your Tesser.
Like,
Erie,
that's the one that
Ultra.
produced
We
last
know
year.
that
I had
it's
to
going to
send
produce
pictures.
corn snakes. That's
Yeah.
about
I had to
it.
send pictures of the babies to 3 different breeders. Like, what are these babies?
So like if you were to go to PetSmart and buy a fancy corn, you could definitely get something pretty neat out of breeding that. You just would have to know what to fucking breed it to, because you don't know what 7 genes are hidden inside that thing from the breeder who got a normal and went, we're gonna wholesale this shit.
That's
When
what I
I
said.
put
10 years
stuff on
ago,
Morph-
it was just corn snakes. Like it was, there
Yeah.
wasn't,
Yeah.
all these different
Yeah.
breeds. So
When I put stuff
Nobody
on
knew
Morph
about them.
Market
They're
or
all
take
popping up.
photos,
We've done that with the leopard gecko. We bought one
Oh,
from
leopard gecko's
PetSmart,
just
and
as
it was
bad
a
now.
blizzard.
Yep.
And I just
Oh, yeah.
bred it this last year, and it's a blizzard max snow.
Nice.
when I take pictures for like Morph Market, I bet I take 20 to 30 pictures of that animal
Yeah, we took a
Yep.
ton.
and
supposed
go
to-
through and pick which
Oh,
one.
I do.
Yeah.
I've got my light booth set up. I went and bought a nice like tile slate tile from like
Mhm.
Lowe's. So all of my pictures, like if I post a picture online, because it's the same background on everything.
we just got a
Yep.
light box, and I'm going to put our logo to put behind it. So
See, that's awesome too. I've got a logo. The app I use to edit my pictures, I've got it in there as a sticker. So everything that logo goes on every picture I
Yeah.
take.
yeah,
and I put it in
I
there.
started
Ours has a
watermarking
watermark.
ours, so-
Yep.
Especially for Morph Market. So many people are just stealing the pictures off there.
Yes,
Yes.
they are.
Yes. And then they'll try and sell it. It's crazy.
Yeah, our local groups got panda pies up every couple months. And
Shit.
I'm like, that's nice.
They've done it with
And now
my,
the Dark Knight leopard geckos,
Black Knights.
the Black Knights, those
Yep.
things are popping up like every other month now.
they've stolen my photos with my watermark on them and created whole
they don't care.
Facebook pages and tried to sell
I
them.
remember that.
Yeah. That poor kid. I called the phone number on it and started like cussing this dude out. And it was they had spoofed some poor kid in Vegas's phone number. And he's like, "Sir, I don't know what you're talking about." And I'm like screaming at him in the middle of a show in Austin.
I do remember
You're
that.
sitting right next to me. It's when y'all got Bell.
We had someone play we had an 18-foot retic at the show a while back, and someone took pictures of it with their kid. Well, they went home and posted that they had a retic for sale, but instead of putting the actual retic they had for sale, they posted my snake with their baby. So I had all these people like sending me messages saying this dude's trying to sell my snake, and I was like, why would you not post the snake you're selling, and why would you use my picture? Like,
and you were in the picture.
I'm like, I'm standing in the picture holding the snake. Like, you can't sell it. It's not my snake, you know. Like,
so it really starts to.
Just to clarify,
Not anymore.
It really starts to amaze you at how little common sense people have when a lot of it's like that guy that posted that picture of that snake. I guarantee he goes, "Oh, it's a great picture. I'm gonna sell this." It's a shit picture. You're in your gym shorts sitting in your car with all that shit in your car.
I mean, look, they got their newspaper with their Chips Ahoy and shit in the background. Like that's, I mean, like they just opened the tub, took the picture, and closed it.
Oh, you know how many people do that? It's insane.
Oh yeah, there's tons of those.
Like, if you want to sell me a snake, you at least got to pick the snake up and do a little bit of work.
But that's the one that will wonder why they can't charge the same price as the big guys, because you're not even willing to take the snake. Yeah, it's come on.
We got all kinds of people popping in now.
Hey, Sam. Yes, we missed you.
Skip him. Ignore him.
Sam is James's dad.
Yes.
See anal side exotics is finally here. Old Canadian anal side exotics is here. So this person always posts, and I feel bad because I don't know how to pronounce their name because I don't think they're from the United States, and there's a lot of consonants in their name. You know who I'm talking about. It's SJAK. I can't pronounce that. They said, I first check other animals with the same genetics to see what the price is. Again, morph market. Mm-hmm. Then I look at the animals itself, how pretty it is. If it's an animal I would rather keep, I price it a little higher than the rest. Which I've done that. I'm like, if you're gonna make me sell it, it's gonna have to be worth me selling it.
I mean, I can't say anything. I tried that at this last show in Longview with one of my Cresties. I wanted to keep it, but I'm like, no, let me go ahead and price it a little bit higher. And sure enough, I sold it. I was so mad. I'm like, I should have priced it just a little bit higher.
I was happy. We have way too many geckos right now. Y'all want crested geckos? Hit me up.
No, not here. I can tell you, I don't do legs. I got enough things with legs.
So here's one. It's a Colombian true red tail. They're a brand new ship seller, and they showed to be in Burke, Virginia. It's in an Exoterra with a lock on it. I must be scared of it.
Let me see the picture.
But then it says pick up local in Texas.
So it says Colombian true red tail.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, that's confusing right there.
Yeah.
Because, well, that's another. So
Colombian red tail.
Yeah, so it definitely looks like just a BCI. Yeah. Well, BI now. That's another thing in boas, and I've mentioned it before. People get really upset when you call them red tails. Which
man, they freak out.
I get so pissed off. But I'm like, when I got into the hobby, it was red tails.
They're all red tails
and true red tail. Like
one's darker than the other, but
like this.
I just say my Motley boa.
It focused on the
or my Duke boa.
Like it's crazy now.
Oh God, people.
And I get it, Surnames and Guyanas, they're brighter and prettier and all that, but
like it always killed me because again, when I got in the hobby, it was red tails and true red tails. Colombians were red tails, and then the BCC were true red tails, and we all knew what we were talking about. And I think it's newer people that have gotten into the hobby that
they're trying to classify everything. Like
they don't know that's how it's always been. And they're like, that is not a red tail. I'm like, fucker, it may be a Colombian. It's got a red tail. I don't know what to tell you. It's red. So
there's just like one guy at the show.
Has a red tail, I promise you. Well, I don't know. My Motley doesn't have a red tail.
Yeah.
There was a guy at the show that said I had a rosy red tail boa, and I'm like, no, rosy boas.
That's the 20-foot ball python people at every show.
And then you have your red tail boas or your Suriname boas. And he said, well, it had a huge red tail. I'm like, it was probably your Surinames.
Where I was at this weekend, the Grants were right next to me, and John had a display right by where I was, or my computer is, and he had a milk snake in there.
Yep.
And I probably had 10 people. Is that snake poisonous?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's one of the ones that wants you to think it's a coral snake. That snake has no fucking clue what a coral snake is.
Yeah.
You're right. He decided one day, I'm changing my colors. I'm going to look like that dude.
Yeah.
All the time though.
Yeah,
like I said, the 20-foot ball python cracks me up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm not calling C anal side exotics Dale. His name is C anal side exotics. I didn't. You chose the business name C anal side exotics. I didn't make you do that.
Like, you did it.
That was all on you, man.
Okay, I'm going to go with Dale. I like Dale. That's
Robert's taking the high road.
I'm not. I'll take the low road every time. Shelby Brown said genetics. That's how they do it. If an animal I'm placing up has a long track record or lineage to where I know the value based on parents. Again, that goes depending on what you're breeding.
Did you just see Jason Miller?
Geckos
Which is
are-
comment?
Yeah, I
Millions
said
of
you
stuff.
read Jason's.
What?
I'm reading all of them. Yeah.
Right, had a dude argue with my wife at a show once that he had a rare boa from Antarctica. That would be rare.
One. That
Yeah.
would definitely be rare.
I mean, I have a snow boa. That could be where it's from.
Yeah, oh,
Maybe.
shit.
Yeah.
That's what makes the
That's what it was.
snows.
You know what it
There we
is? The reason she's a bitch is because I'm keeping her too warm.
It's too warm. You got to cool her down.
She's from Antarctica. She wants to be cold.
There you go.
God damn.
Oh, God.
Negative
Wish-
10 degrees. Let's go.
Oh, just do the research, you know?
That's it.
Todd Autry says he prices them on how much of a pain in the ass the buyer will be.
That's a different discussion.
That's
Yes.
one way. Dusty McPherson said he's completely honest. To be completely honest, he's a loyal person, so prices in most cases is not the issue for him when buying, which usually isn't for me. I can't say it's not. I'm not one of those who like price is not a problem. Price is a problem because I ain't got that much money. So like
That goes back to what we were talking about earlier. I mean, if you're loyal, you know who quality breeders are. You're willing to pay those higher prices. I mean,
yeah.
you know,
I was talking today with someone who's still relatively new, but is doing things the right way. And he said he just had somebody have him take photos, videos, asked all these questions, and then came back with, all right, well, hopefully I'll have some money soon and then I can buy something.
oh, all the time.
Fuck, I hate people
all
like
the
that.
time.
I get it all the time too.
That's the
Can
most
you give me
common
Can you give me a quote on a custom cage? Here's okay. Well, maybe how about this size? Well, how about this size? All right. Well, I'll keep you in mind for the future because I don't have the money right now. Motherfucker, do you
I'm pretty sure I've done that to you a couple times though.
It's different.
no,
when
but you've actually bought from me, so that's
Yeah.
I've actually
different.
bought stuff.
I was
Like,
saying
you
we need
bought
more
things.
baby racks.
Let's
Okay,
like
don't
with,
get a hold of me yet.
let's like
Or
a
Did
same
you buy
boa.
the one from Andy?
It is when I get my paycheck, will you still have it?
I don't know.
Maybe not.
Maybe I'm not holding it.
What's with Sambo is I tend to get a very decent picture, kind of angled above it, so you can see kind of the whole body and everything.
Mhm.
Don't dare send me a message asking for another picture of a fucking Samboa, baby. It's a
Nope.
Samboa. What you see is that's it.
Oh,
There's
we
not
had-
something hiding on the other side of it that I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna fucking show it to you. I'm gonna keep that side of the body hidden, so you're
we had a friend that
surprised.
popped up. He had a $25 normal ball python listed on Morph Market, and someone messaged asking for pictures of the parents.
Oh wow.
He's like, I'm not, he told him, he's like, I'm not
You just
sending you
Google
pictures of the
two
parents.
normal ball pythons and send them those photos. Here you go.
You know?
Okay, I
He's
may
like, I'm not
have
doing it. Not for
I may have to
$20.
name. Now I have to come up with find a morph that I can name the Icelandic Bjork boa.
There you go.
Oh fuck.
Goes Dad giving you ideas.
Elizabeth K.
Same
Nash
right
says she
there.
follows the market and goes from there. She uses Morph Market as well as a reference, which is really again become kind of the standard to use
It's just
Morph
nice to
Market.
know what everybody else is selling them for. You know?
Yeah, it's just it keeps us from having to guess. You can kind of get a range.
You don't have to go, I mean, you can go up or down or right in the middle. It doesn't matter. You know, it still gives you an average starting point.
But and you can figure out where the person lives that you're looking at. It's like, do they live in your general area for that price, or are they living, halfway across the world
Yeah,
for the price?
And it kind of helps like people like us. So we buy out a collection. Well, if I'm buying 20 snakes, it might not be 20 snakes that I deal with on a normal basis. So I don't even know what they're worth, So it kind of gives you a starting point to look up like, hey, what can I actually expect to get out of this, So,
Jason Miller said he used to ask for extra pictures until he started selling, and then realized what a pain in the ass it is. Yeah, I mean it is easier with camera phones, but still, I mean like,
Yeah.
The deal is depending on what you breed. Like if you're breeding a Sambo, a regular Sambo, one good picture is fine. If you're breeding something higher in pattern and color, you'll usually take 2 or 3 pictures from different angles.
Mm-hmm.
In
well, now you're back to lineage, if you're breeding something that they want the lineage on, okay, pictures of parents are acceptable,
Yeah, but don't I hate the ones that. So if you're selling on Morph Market, especially like I'm on Morph Market and I've had enough sales that I have good reviews and all, and I haven't had someone ask me this, but I've had other people ask them this where they go, "Will you send me a picture of that with today's paper, with the date?"
Yeah, I've done
Yeah.
that before.
I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
let me
not
go buy
giving you a newspaper.
paper.
I'll hold it and send you on video or something.
Right.
Be like, yeah,
I don't have a newspaper.
I'm not getting newspapers.
but I don't know. Customers get annoyed, and I get it. Some of them don't mean to be annoying, and some of them don't know any better, and
They're just
It's
afraid
kind-
of games out there, and
and it's on us in the hobby
Which
to try and
means
be.
scammed.
Yeah. Well, it's honest on the hobby to be more patient with them. But... Oh, really?
It's been a few weeks now, but yeah. Well, they sent me a picture of her driver's license and everything, and couldn't find out she's got 10 different accounts, so it didn't make a difference.
Oh, damn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Miller Ravage says he doesn't even know where to find a newspaper anymore.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'll ask him, like, if you want me to tell a $1 bill or a quarter or, pick something random. Like,
yeah.
So let's go through some of the ones on your page, and then we'll go to kind of talk more about ours. But so Eric from...
Yeah, I was going to say, you might know some of these people, and some of them you might not.
Yeah, Eric I know from... That's from E Squared, right?
Yeah.
He says, we all have bottom lines to consider. Especially, again, this really depends on if you're doing it as a business as well. I do it completely as a hobby. So it's going to be different. But he says we all have bottom lines to consider and try and price to reflect that. The biggest issue as a whole facing the industry right now is a lot of people are getting out. So showing up and taking what they can get. Generally speaking, the money has classically always followed the lowest priced vendors because the public will 90% of the time opt for the cheapest rather than the best, which is true. We see it all the time.
I mean, you can be $5 cheaper and they're going to go somewhere else.
I mean, if you've sold long enough, you've had this happen to you, and it's possibly the most frustrating thing in the world. Customer comes up, you spend 10, 15, 20 minutes talking to them. They come by a couple of times. They hold the animal. Wonderful. And then you see them walk by with something cheaper later in the show. You're like, motherfucker.
And it's usually something totally different, too. Not even the same, like, species or anything.
I talked to someone, I think it was Rainbow Boas, for like 20 minutes.
Last Conroe.
Yeah. Well, that was a different one. That was with the guy. I told him I'd make the deal he wanted.
Shook your hand.
Shook my hand on it and then went, oh, never mind. I shouldn't.
No, he said, let me ask my wife.
Let me ask my wife.
And I was like, nope, there went that one.
I was like, fucker, I agreed to your
I
low
use that
ball.
excuse a lot, and I promise half the time it legitimately is asking her, like, if it's okay.
But, like, I lowball. I was like, yes, I'll go down to your lowball offer.
Everything.
But I've had some people come by, look at the animal for a while, and I sell snakes, and they'll come back by, and I watch one person come by with an iguana.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the fuck?
I had a lady at a show, 2 shows in a row. I spent like an hour with her educating her on how racks work, how to put the temp probe in, how to do this, how to do that. About 30 minutes. She said, okay, well, I'll be back in a few minutes. I definitely want this one. Okay. About 20 minutes later, I see her like trying to sneak out the door with another rack person right behind her. So I went out and I was like, did you really waste my time and buy food? Well, they were $20 cheaper. All right. Well, you get what you pay for. And I turned around and walked off.
Mm-hmm.
That's like there's, some new cages on the market that are half price of everybody else's cages.
They're
also about 10% of the quality.
Yeah.
And
the difference if you're not using 1/2-inch PVC,
Yeah.
We learned our lesson on, trying to go with a little bit cheaper and hoping for great quality on actually our boa cages.
I was gonna say, I got screwed on the boa cages.
We got really screwed on our boa cages. We're actually getting ready to redo all of them.
These ones aren't bad. All these are 14 slot that I made myself, but glass cages.
Our boa cages, they're glass fronts, and every time you open them, the glass falls out.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Yeah, I've got brands of 4-foot boa cages, and now the only ones I'll do are the ones from Robert. I like this. I tell you, like, I have some from Sea Serpents, and had I not met Robert, I probably would still buy Sea Serpent stuff because I'm not gonna look.
No, they have decent stuff. Yeah.
Chris makes amazing stuff, but I think Robert makes equally comparable stuff to Chris.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have some cages.
I've already told Jeremy once Robert starts making the display cases, we need to hurry up and get some before he sells out of them.
Just make him cut it, and I'll put it together.
But I do have
just
other
send me
brand
the files and I'll cut it.
I do have other brand cages, and I've realized that people don't think about the thickness stuff. Those, I don't want to say the name of them, but the ones that's warped like hell and back because they use thinner stuff on top.
Yeah.
Or like the old school melamine racks. I mean, you get water in those things one time and they're done. I mean,
I love watching someone build one on the internet and talk about how they save so much money building this. And I'm like,
plywood or 2x4s or melamine.
Get back to me in 3 months. Let's see how well your tubs still slide in and out. And don't get me wrong.
Or if your snakes aren't sick.
There are definitely some old school folks that still use that stuff, and it's like I think Kathy Love probably still uses. I would imagine still uses melamine racks and all of it.
It's not like there's anything wrong with it, but there's just there's better products out there now.
Yeah.
You got to pay more for them, but that also drives pricing of the animals up. I mean, if you're using higher end caging and thermostats and foods, and it's going to be higher pricing.
Yeah. Oh man. So Miller Radovich said he agrees to he agreed to a lowball deal once where the gal went around telling everyone the price that he gave her so much that everyone that came to his table asked for that price, and people that paid the normal price came back wanting refunds.
Jesus.
That sucks.
I'd give one refund in that situation.
Yeah.
That's what you say. Well, you should have been better at negotiating. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, that would suck. So let's see. There's some ones on yours. Dwayne Kaiser said, I take so much into consideration when pricing, but I guess if I have to narrow it down to one thing, it would be a fair deal. At what price can both parties walk away feeling good about the experience? I don't want to walk away feeling like I've put in the work to offer up the highest quality animal possible and feel like I'm giving it away. Yeah, that's like when I had to sell my boas once for way cheaper than I wanted. That hurt. Like, it physically hurt. But like, it was that, or I'm sitting there all day selling nothing because, again, the guy a table over with, I'm not going to toot my horn, but his hypos were not that good looking. But to the general public, if you put hypo boa on a cut deli cup,
they're all exactly the same. Yeah.
It's a hypo boa. I'm like, but it's not. Like, this one's super clean and that one's dirty as hell. But okay, whatever.
So Dwayne, he's with Muddy Water Reptiles. He does ball pythons as well. So.
Fucking ball python people. Oh, damn. Miller Everett said he sold a bunch of $80 rainbows that day. Oh, no, I fucked that.
We missed that one.
That's what you should have just packed that one home.
That show.
Oh, that sucks.
Or put them all behind the table and be like, well, we're out.
Sold.
My dad said everybody needs to switch to the original Sam and James cages. No one needs to have cages that we built back in the day. Those things were. I tell you that.
Some old school cages.
I think like the wooden cages were good, and I'm sure they are still in one piece somewhere. Like, because they were built to withstand an atomic bomb, but they fucking weighed 7 trillion pounds.
I was gonna say I had some old wooden glass ones and old Berman retake cages that were made out of wooden glass. They moved from one location to another location, to my store in Florida, to Mississippi, and then we finally sold them when we moved the second time.
Well, these
were not moving these things again.
I think these were 5 by 2 by 18, maybe, and they were 3/4 inch birch plywood all the way around.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
And I mean, you could lay on top of it, and it didn't bow, didn't flex, nothing. But fuck, they suck. The first time I got a PVC cage and I was able to just lift it up and put it on, I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is amazing. So, yeah, we'll do wood again. Darren says, does location of a show ever affect pricing?
I'm more likely to run a couple of specials at a show like Longview, where I would definitely say, like at Longview, the spend per customer is definitely less than, say, Austin.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm more likely to maybe knock a few prices down on a couple of things.
Which we did. We ran sales on
a couple hatchling racks. Didn't sell any of them.
Didn't sell them.
But
the Colubra racks.
No, they were 6 quart.
Talking to the microphone.
I am as close to the microphone if it was.
I could hear it that time. So.
Well, I got
sold. I was going to say, if they're the Colubra ones, go ahead and mail them.
I've sold at smaller shows, and I've sold at like Tinley. And at Tinley, I had to make a little bit better deal to sell a snake at Tinley because there's a lot more people there.
With smaller shows, our prices are different.
I don't necessarily know the show location itself does, but the customer base, I think, does. Because I guess that goes down to location. I mean, just different parts of the United States have different income levels, and it's all it all varies, I guess.
Well, when you do a super show like NARBC, that's a lot of vendors carrying a lot of the same stuff.
Less competition, things of that nature.
So if you're selling just an albino boa, you're probably not going to get as good a price at a show like Tinley, whereas you would at maybe Longview, where maybe one other person has them. So that does play into it. Like I said, I think the time you put into projects definitely is part of the thing, is part of the cost.
Location, not necessarily just the show, but the location of the breeder themselves too. Is, I mean, like rats, for example, might cost one price here where we live, and another price in Texas, another price in Florida, and if you live next to a rodent farm, you can get cheaper, better deals than someone that's got to get them shipped or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of might play into it a little bit too.
Well, the great thing I do like about Morph Market for pricing is you can actually go on and do the filter, and you can click what things have sold at, not what is currently there.
Right, what they actually sold at.
Yeah, you can find the ones that sold and go, okay, that's what they're selling for. You know, that's like when people go to like eBay or something and they go, "This thing costs $5,000 on eBay." Well, it's been there for how long?
Right.
Like it doesn't.
You can see when it was posted. You can see how much equal things sold for.
Yes, and so you can do your own homework there. It does keep people from getting ripped off, so that's great. It does, again, it does balance out the shows, because even when we talk to other breeders at a show, we're all checking our phone on Morph Market. If we have something that's not as common, we're like, man, what do we sell this for? Oh, okay, yeah, that's what it's going for. Morph Market now, that's what I'm gonna sell it for, right? I sold a rainbow boa this year for. I'm not gonna. I'll sell numbers. I don't care. I sold one for $500 this year. Which fucking blew my mind that someone gave me $500 for a snake that I bought his dad in 2003 for $125.
Wow.
Someone actually said that they're $500 where they're at right now.
Yeah, in Canada, everything's expensive in Canada. But they bought it. Like that was the going price. That you go on Morph Market, they're $600-700 for baby Brazilian rainbow boas.
Dumero boas are the same way now. Like
they've
gone crazy.
I got most of mine barely squeaked under that super high price when
I sold 3 females, 3 subadult females for $700 not too long ago.
Yep. Everybody can thank Kevin McCurley and Nerd for that. That is all Nerd that said, hey, Doomerals are now $900.
Yeah, they're not.
Yep.
For like overnight. They went from $125 to $900. I'm like, that's amazing, the power you have.
I was gonna say, and there's some bigger companies that still have that kind of power,
Yeah.
They can kind of shift what they want.
But also when it comes to pricing stuff, some people set the price. So like when it comes to ball pythons, obviously Kabilka kind of sets the price, but don't expect to get Justin Kabilka's price for your animal.
Yeah.
That's you're not him. You don't garner the same kind of thing as him.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Miller said when he bred Doomerals, he sold them all for $125 to $75. Yeah, they were $120. They were $125, and rainbows were $125 for like a decade.
Yeah, they're between Doomerals babies were $400 to $500 over this past year year and a half. I got one a year and a half ago for $200 a hatchling.
Yep. Here's a 22 a baby for $400.
Yeah,
and that's down.
400.
Here's one for $725.
Yes, that's.
Yeah, the ones that have the more like coral pink color to them, they have a tendency to be higher.
There's a pair from last year.
I have 2 to 3 females that are lighter, 2 that are really lighter, and one that's a little bit lighter with that high coral, high pink. One male's got high coral and pink, and one male that's.
She is not listening. She's in her own conversation over there.
I was having a conversation before he started talking. He can talk to himself all day long.
I'm with him. You need to breed some Doomerals boas.
Yeah,
we are.
Look at these prices.
Because I want a Doomerals boa.
You have a Doomerals boa.
Yeah, but no, I have one. I have one Doomerals boa. I have found that you tend to need 2 to make more.
That's true.
Is she ready?
Yeah, she's old enough.
She is old enough.
Yeah, she's small, but she's old
I
enough.
have a smaller male that would be fine for her. I would not send you my bigger male for her.
Yeah,
she's too tiny.
No, she'll be good.
He'd squash her.
So I wanted to pull up some things from our Facebook group this week. There were some really interesting things posted on our Facebook group this week. One I shared was from VivTech, and you commented on it. VivTech has a new light fixture for their VivTech bulbs. Again, if you want to save 15% on VivTech bulbs, code Gumbo22. Just throwing that out there. Code Gumbo22 will save 15%. But they have a new articulating ceramic base light fixture that you can put in your cages and run the wire through the ceramic base and right out the cage, and it looks amazing. Nice. So check that out. That's now along with the other 5 million things that Ryan McVeigh has now come up with through VivTech products.
Ryan and Erica. My bad. I don't want to leave out Eric.
I love our light from them so much. The first one we ever got, it changed my beardie's life, I think.
They call it the in situ soil fixture, but they also have it. If you scroll down, they have it with screen on it also for another $10.
Really? Keep them from being able to burn themselves on it. That's awesome. Yeah. So yeah, because now I'd really like to set it up because you can get that to set up a light. You can get their in situ camera. So you can actually attach the camera to the inside of a cage, which as someone who, when it gets time for boas to give birth, gets really anal about like walking in like 20 times a day to see if the boa is giving birth.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to put the camera in.
We used cameras inside my retics when we were breeding them last year.
Yeah, cameras are amazing for that kind of stuff. So everybody check out VivTech. Nathan Holcomb, I'm not going to mention that because anyways, move past that one. No, nothing against Nathan. Just who originally posted it. Oh, I found this one. Did you see the sea turtle that attacked the shark?
Yeah. Well, I fought back.
I fought back. The shark was this big tiger shark was trying to eat the sea turtle, and he kept turning his back so he couldn't get him. And the shark turned for a second, and the sea turtle said, "Fuck it," and went after him and bit him on the tail, and the shark took off.
Yep.
So like for a while, you're like, "Oh shit, this turtle is totally about to get eaten," and the turtle said, "Fuck it, I'm coming for you," and then bit him. So makes you rethink like the surviving, how turtles survive in the wild.
Sea turtle's got a bad bite.
Yeah, no, that's see, here goes in the video. You see, bites him right on the tail, and the shark takes off.
My father-in-law accidentally, we were fishing at the jetties probably 2-3 years ago, and we were throwing rattle trap lures because we were catching Spanish mackerel.
Yeah,
a blast. And all of a sudden, man, his just like doubles over, and he's like fighting. I think he's probably, because it's like slow and staying low, I think he'd unhooked a big stingray.
Yeah.
No, he had a freaking turtle by the back flipper dragging it backwards.
Damn.
So we get up there, so I grab it. Dude, that thing almost got me.
You.
I got bit by a dolphin once.
A dolphin?
On the foot. When I was a sheriff's deputy.
That's gotta hurt. They got teeth.
Yeah.
That's
it had
insane.
beached itself, and we were like keeping water on it, like telling, because we call the dolphin their stranding, whatever, Marine Mammal Stranding Network. And they're like, well, just keep it wet and this and that. Well, I put my foot next to his face, and the fucker bit me, like clamped down on my boot. Luckily I had, like combat type boots
like I've
on,
swam with those things.
but still, that shit hurt. I just told you how I got bit by a dolphin.
There you go. See, anal side exotics not listening.
Yep.
Brian McDowell shared this giant American croc skull they found. Where was it? Somewhere in Central America. I'm trying to read it. Part of it was in Spanish. But anyway, it was a huge American crocodile skull, which is awesome. Okay, this video that Isaac shared changed the way I view the world. Have you seen the one that he posted about the praying mantis?
Yes.
So anybody that has not seen it needs to go over to our Facebook group, not the page, but the group, and it's a video of a praying mantis catching a hummingbird on a hummingbird feeder and eating it. Like, fuck, that was what got me, because I'm like, oh, he caught it, but he'll probably let it go. No, they get to the video and he's just like plucking feathers out, eating a hummingbird.
That's insane.
I've never seen a praying mantis eat a hummingbird, but I now rethink praying mantises. Yeah. They slightly scare me. And then Nathan also posted a range map of the diamondback rattlesnake, the current range map of the diamondback rattlesnake, which saddens me because as one of my favorite venomous snakes of all time, you just see the areas of where it's no longer found. You know, when I lived in Louisiana,
it's diminishing pretty quick.
Yeah, and when I lived in Louisiana, it was always on the list of like the 5 venomous snakes found in Louisiana, and it was always on there. But you're like, we don't have any. And even this map shows you functionally extirpated from all parts of Louisiana. If you want to find them now, you pretty much gonna have to go to Florida, South Georgia, and like Southeast Alabama, maybe part of Mississippi, and that's about it. So that's just a sad map when you see something like that, something that used to be spread, and something like that, because that is a huge. If no one's ever seen a full-grown eastern diamondback, it is an impressive snake. To see a 7-8 foot diamondback rattlesnake, they are thick. And they know that they're badass. So that was a sad one to see. What did my dad say? Must have been a male hummingbird and the female praying mantis. No, I think this one ate ass first, so I don't think it works the same way.
But it did. It was like plucking the feathers out.
Oh yeah,
it looked like it was going right around its belly area.
You know, it's creepy. I rethink praying mantises now, and I'm not sure I want to hold one. So. Anyways, that was there were some other things, but those were the ones that really stuck out from this past week. They got posted. There's one apparently of a blue tongue skink going crazy. I missed that video. This one was from around Houston. Did you share this one, Robert? The turtle one?
Yes.
That one.
I don't remember what it was, but I did share it.
It was the Turtle Survival Alliance. They were in Houston. They were catching alligator snappers. Yeah, and then a couple days later they posted some more. They actually caught some first time. Those were all repeat catches. Oh, wow.
And they caught a couple first time that were like big adults that, they had never seen before.
That's
it's all
awesome.
up in Spring Creek, which is a small little creek that's kind of landlocked.
Is it illegal to eat them in Texas?
Yes, they are protected in Texas.
Because they are not protected.
They're protected in most places now.
Not in Louisiana, because in Louisiana, like if it moves, you can eat it.
Pretty much.
Yuck.
Now there are, I think you have to have a fishing license, and it's like one per vehicle per person per day. Which, when you do the math, is a shit ton of fucking turtles. But there's not that. Like, you hear stories from old timers in Louisiana about how they used to be able to go down ditches and just like scoop them up out of ditches left and right. You can't do that anymore. There's
Look at those claws
on what?
on that turtle.
Oh yeah,
Alligator snapper.
Oh, they're massive. I don't know if y'all have ever actually dealt with them.
Oh yeah.
yeah. I've taken care. I was a zookeeper for a while, so we had some.
Yeah, they're great. Our Facebook page got some photos of our old ones.
That's why when you're like, okay, this alligator snapper, I have to grab it like this.
Yes.
This is a regular snapper, I have to grab it like this.
Mhm.
Otherwise, the consequences are going to suck.
Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah. You cannot grab a regular snapper from behind the head.
No.
They can
You
bend.
can.
enough.
Yeah,
You
go ahead
can.
and try.
You can.
Go ahead and try.
Yeah.
So we'd always get and this is bad, and people are gonna hate me, but I used to grab regular snappers by the tail, and I get it, I could hurt them, but if you've ever seen what a snapping turtle can go through and survive, that's not even close to the worst thing that could happen to a snapping turtle when you grab by the tail. I mean, I've seen so many missing legs and chunks of that. That is probably the toughest animal on earth, the alligator snapping turtle, or just common snappers, because they're fucking everywhere. But
Yeah, they have cracked shells, bullets. It doesn't matter.
oh yeah.
They just keep going.
But alligator snappers, the other problem with them is you can't, when you hold them, you can't turn. Like, you want to, because you're lifting 60, 70, 80, 90 pounds with one hand way out in front of you and another one back here on the back end. You're like, oh, it'd be so much easier if I could just hold it up against my body. But at that point, it could turn and bite your arm or your face.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, you have to hold it way out, and it's, but they are crazy. I saw a thing once, it was 1,000 pounds per square inch when they bite. So, what?
Our phone started ringing.
Yeah, I'm gonna step out just because it is one of my children.
Your kids are okay. You got two of them.
Yeah, it's the grown one. She's on her way.
Something happens to one, you got another one.
So, anyways, I think we. You all right, Robert?
Just had to chill.
Shook over there for a second.
She's walking away. He's scared.
Yeah, she's driving. She just left work. That's why she's calling.
So, again, going back to the question when it comes to pricing, pricing for you is different, because you're obviously, I think, going to price something you breed different than something you wholesale, that you bought wholesale and you're reselling, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. And then now you're down to, we also sell wholesale. So,
yeah,
we sell to other breeders as well. So it's, it's kind of all just factors in and goes back, like, adding location and costs and personal pride too, I guess, like we're talking about lineage and quality and everything else.
Yeah. And then, like it was said in one of the comments, I think it was Eric, big issue is people getting out of stuff right now and selling it so cheap, which really hurts the people that are not, though. They're trying to market them at market price. And again, for some of these animals, the general public will buy it. But then again, they'll buy this animal cheap, and then it'll die, and then they'll be off of reptiles forever. Like, reptiles are hard to take care of. I'm like,
and see, that's going into we do a lot of personal pets. Like, a lot of the stuff we sell goes to first-time reptile buyers, and we try to talk them out of the cheapest ones, because that's not what's always best for them. We had a whole bunch of baby Solomon Island ground boas at the show, and I'm like, that's not what you want for your first snake. It's just not a good starter pet.
But they're cheap.
They're cheap, and I have a ton of them if you want any.
And you can buy them pregnant too.
Yeah. But it goes back to, if you're buying something your first time, you want it to be a good experience, not a bad experience. And that's with reptiles or anything across the board. So you've got to make sure that they have the good experience with you as a breeder, but also the experience of the animal, kind of fitting the right animal with the right person.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of that, anybody coming to Conroe needs to buy Sambos from me. I need to.
Well, technically, they have to come see me.
That's true. Come see Rachel, and buy Sambos from her.
Which means they got to come see me, because I'll be the only one at the table.
You're going to be at the podcast table the whole time.
That's right.
My dad, the best first snake is a rainbow boa. I can tell you from firsthand experience that is not true. I did it, and it survived. That's a fucking horrible first pet.
Yeah, don't start with that one.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Corn snake, ball python.
No, the Nile monitors.
The
Corns,
problem,
balls, sandboas. I mean, sandboas.
I was just
Sambos,
Sambos
yeah.
are great.
That's usually like kids. I'm like, here, it's small, it's easy, it's durable. It's a good snake.
And if it's a male, you can put it in a 10 to a 20-gallon tank for its entire life, and it won't.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it.
I was laughing. People were like, "Yeah, but they hide all the time. How do you see it?" Well, you pick it up. What are you talking about? How do you see it?
right?
I was like, we open the tubs that ours are in, and they come right up to the top. As a matter of fact, the little genetic striped anery female my son has, she lives with her nose at the corner. So as soon as
you need to talk into the microphone, not your hand.
Out. My hand touched my nose because my nose was itching. Thought I was going to sneeze, and I didn't want to sneeze in the microphone.
See, I thought I was the only one with sand boas that were half retarded and don't bury much of the time.
Oh, no, that one little female, she is always half buried, but her nose is sitting right in the very top corner.
Well, like so many people will talk about, well, I have a ball python, I see it all the time. I'm like, well, you know what? Give it a true like mound to climb down into and hide, and then tell me how often you'll see it.
That's what, I mean, the whole hide thing. Like everyone's like, oh, you have to have a hide for it. Well, I mean, number one, a rack system is a hide. It's a dark area. They feel secure.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, if you give them a hide, you will never see that snake again. I mean,
yeah, I've always, that's why I don't give a hide to like my sambos and rack, because first off, they're going to bury under the bedding in a dark tub. They're in a hide.
They're already in a built-in hide.
That's one of those where people want to argue they want to argue racks versus cages. I'm like, own sandboas. Racks are amazing for sandboas.
If you haven't done that podcast about that, we didn't do one on there too.
Oh, I think we've done it a while back, and that's always I don't know. I think it's kind of it's
controversial, but it also goes back to, I think it depends on the individual person and their home environment on what works better for them. I don't think
and the snake,
and the snake. I mean,
there are lots of folks that keep ball pythons in too small of a tub.
Oh, definitely.
Like, you know, a V70 tub is a great size tub for an adult ball python, but some of the sweater box tubs they'll keep them in. I'm like, and they'll keep a full-grown adult in that. I'm like, that's the size of a hide. You're keeping it in the size.
That's what I'm saying. You put a 4-foot ball into a 3-foot tub, it's not good.
Right.
Yeah.
So that is where it comes down to. You know, a box is a box. We've said it before. A box is a box, whether it's a tub or a cage. It's still a box. We had someone argue with us that we're abusive because we use rack systems. That it's much better.
I get it all the time.
Put them. Well, the argument though was that it was better to put them in a tub with a heat pad and stack them on the ground instead of using the rack systems. And I'm like, how does that even make sense?
You're like, just because that's the way you do it doesn't mean that it's the best way to do it. Jesus, people.
I would rather than be on a shelf that I can slide in and out instead of stacking them on the ground. I mean,
I get probably 3 or 4 times a year, I will get unsolicited messages from some random person telling me how horrible I am for building racks, because there's this guy in Canada who's got his own group who claims he can train a black milk snake to help you with mental disability.
Oh, that guy.
He has to know which disability is so he can tailor the training for the black milk snake.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, he also has a GoFundMe up. It's now he changed it. It's no longer 3 million. It's now 200,000.
It's the emotional support snakes and like different things you train them for.
He wants
different species could be trained. He wants to make
hides and stuff to knock Zilla and Zoom that out of business, but his hides look like a hunk of dog shit.
Good luck on knocking those guys out of business. They're small.
They're small companies, right?
But yeah, I get those 3 or 4 times a year. I'll get that you're terrible for building racks and blah 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 blah. And I just usually say, well, you can go fuck yourself, and then block them.
Well, like so, Luke says for his blue tongues. And I've seen this a lot. People put them in tubs all the time. Again, the size tub. He's got hides and cardboard tubes and pipes. I mean, he's not putting them in a shoebox, right? An adult's not going in a shoebox without the ability to turn around. So
we used to do bearded dragons, and we used to essentially use rat racks for the bearded dragons because you can put the heat and the UVB on top of the wire, and it was bigger tubs, but it was the same concept. It was a big tub that you would slide in and out. It's easy to clean, easy to deal with. They feel safe and secure, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I use cages for my big boas because you're talking 5, 6, 7, 8 foot snakes. I want them to be a tub.
Yeah, we don't use racks for our adult boas. We use PVC displays.
Yeah, I did have some Christmas tree tub racks for boas at one point, and they were fine. There's just those tubs are kind of a pain in the butt because they have like edges where urates get stuck, and then they're not very deep front to back, right? Those things are about a foot front to back, and so when you're talking about an 8-foot boa, that's just not enough room, a foot front to back. Luke said 3x2, no lights, just cord, but clear tub so they can see day and night for his blue tongues, and that's a good size. I mean, that's 3x2 is a good size floor space for a blue tongue.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
Yeah. You're not talking about a huge lizard here.
I mean, that's bigger or about the size. That's bigger than a 40-gallon breeder tank, and everybody thinks that's a huge tank, right? So
I don't know what size our blue tongue was in.
It was a 50.
Is it a 40 breeder?
40 breeder?
I thought it was bigger than a 40 breeder.
I don't remember. Yeah, 40 breeder.
It's a 40 breeder. It's sitting on my back porch right now.
I was gonna say, it's on the back
Next
porch.
to 2 other 40 breeders that are the exact same size.
But it's like us, we got to stack up in the garage.
Like I need to get rid of those things.
Yeah,
but it's funny. You show someone a 40 breeder tank, and you show someone a tub with the same floor space for an animal that doesn't need a ton of climbing room, right? And they'll tell you the tank is a better option. When, I mean, first off, you're gonna have a screen lid on there, so humidity is a nightmare. The risk of breaking the tank, they're a pain in the ass to clean.
Well, glass doesn't hold heat or humidity or anything. Like it's you know, if it's cold in the room, it stays cold. If it's hot, it stays hot.
And they can be seen on all 4 sides of their cage, which is also
no darkness,
can be stressful.
no security, nothing. I mean, it's.
So
I'm not a fan of glass tank. I do have my sailfin in a glass tank right now, but it's in the middle of the reptile room. So
I have my Uromastics in a glass tank, and
stays dark, stays warm.
The only thing in my house now that's in a glass tank is my daughter's bearded dragon, and our box turtle. But that's going to change soon.
These emerald skinks back here in a glass tank, but once we get cages built, they'll go in PVC cages. Yeah, I try to get away from glass tanks.
My caimans in a glass tank, my sailfins in a glass tank, and the poison dart frogs, I think, are in bioactive up front.
Fancy poison dart frogs in their bioactive enclosures.
Yeah.
That's another one.
I'm trying to get rid of those things since we got them. So
that's what Luke said. Glass is only good for bioactive geckos.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great for bioactive stuff. You know, but
when they're heavy, yeah.
It's just they're hard to clean because you got to pick it up, and if you try not to drop it, and like a 40 gallon is not the most easy size tank to carry around and clean.
Yeah.
Especially if you live in a house like this where it's 2 floors, and if you're trying to get downstairs to like spray it out with a water hose or something, you're probably gonna break something.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about when we transfer our daughter's bearded dragon. We got to unpack that bioactive tank before we even try to move it.
Is that upstairs? It's upstairs.
It's in Lily's bedroom. Yeah.
See, I've never seen it.
Put it on a piece of cardboard and slide it.
I think I'll probably make them scoop all the dirt out into a bucket to haul it out because I'm not doing it. It's not my bearded dragon. It's hers. So
I know, we're from hot to cold in here.
I feed it and I make sure
I'm
it
good.
stays alive.
I like cold.
But so what are your big breeding plans this year?
Like I said, I've got albino red tails are one of the bigger ones I'm going. I should have some snow or at least exanthic and albino hognoses. I'm trying for the 2nd year in a row. I'm a Madagascan giant hognoses. If those things breed, I'll be happy.
How many mad hogs do you have?
I've just got 1 pair.
And only the giants. You don't have the other ones?
No, I've got westerns. No, I don't have any of the other ones. Just the giants. I'm not a fan of the other ones. I don't know why. I don't like the way they look.
I like the giants better too.
Yeah, the giant. I mean, I've got my male. I'd pull him out right now, but he's like 6.5 feet, and it's insane.
Oh wow!
I've never seen a snake eat as fast as a giant mad hog.
Yeah, he's by far the biggest one I've ever seen. We got a bunch of cresties going, a bunch of gargoyles. Like I said, we're trying to do leechies if I can find a male. I think that's about it. I mean, leopard geckos and corns and kings and.
See, leechies, that's another one that scares me. Breeding something that costs that much that could kill each other.
Oh, man, and I was gonna say they hate each other. Like you have to put them in there and hope they don't die.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find a male right now, and I guess all the breeders are having the same problems. Like there's not enough males right now.
So the females have killed them
in case
all.
you're wondering at the shows, everyone's got females for sale. No one can get a hold of males right now. So
that's a funny problem because that's normally not the opposite.
It's
of the
exact
issue.
opposite with every other species.
Yeah.
It's insane.
But I like leechies. Again, that kind of falls into that range of I can't bring myself to own something that expensive that I can't then turn around and make money off of. And I know that sounds bad to certain people, but like
I'm the same way though. Like I mean, it's an expensive lizard. You know, we got a few in on a trade, and I was like, all right, you know, it's a good deal. We'll do it. And then we bought one, and now all 3 of them turned out to be female. So
they are very cool. If you've ever wanted to own a Chihuahua that looks like a gecko, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, they're huge. Like, it's ridiculous.
That's why I love when Carl brings his leechies to shows from South Texas Gex.
That's actually where 2 of mine came from, Carl.
Yeah.
If you own a leechie and you've been hurt shows, you probably at least got one from Carl.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I love it.
2 of our 3 came from him. And then 1 came from a breeder out of Slidell. Matter of fact, that was getting out of it and selling them cheap. But when I say cheap, I think it was still like 700 or 800 or something, like something crazy.
But see, that's when we go back to price. You know, I look at the price on Carl's stuff, and in my mind, I go, "Man, that's too much." But I know it's not too much. It's too much for me to spend. It's not too much for the animal. So I think that's one thing people need to see when they go around the show.
Well, now you're looking at the seller's perspective. I mean, it's, what is the seller willing to actually buy it? Or the buyer, I mean, what is the buyer actually willing to buy something for? And, what I pay for something might be different than what y'all pay for something.
Well, I think people need to understand when you go to a show and you see prices and they're high to you, the animal's not priced high. It's priced higher than what you're willing to spend.
Right.
There's a difference, right? Certain animals, look, those leeches that Carl has, and he doesn't even, I haven't seen some of the ones that are really high end, but the pinks and greens on some of those that he had, I can't
look them
remember
up on Morph Market right now. If you haven't looked them up recently, go ahead. They're insane.
But again, they're worth it from him. They are worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Or like his iguanas that he does, those things.
Banana pectinatus.
The spiny tail iguanas. I remember when those things, the spiny iguanas, those used to be so cheap. And they're another one that's gone way up lately.
People realize that they don't suck like green iguanas, and now everybody wants them.
Yep. Well, and they also used to be imports, mean as hell, and now they're starting to captive breed them and getting some calm ones like tokay geckos. I mean, tokays are making a comeback. Who would have thought that?
Yeah, fuck that. No,
I see those things at the shows like captive bred tokays, and I'm like, holy crap! Like,
I can't. I've been around long enough to go, nope, that's not happening.
I mean, back like when we first started this, tokays were what you would buy just to release in the room to keep the roaches and stuff down. Like,
yes, yeah, that's nope, not doing it.
But the other one, there was something else I saw.
Well, you sent a picture today of a giant tiger rat that someone had, right?
Mm-hmm. He was giving it away.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Did he
you don't see those very often. We just came across a few bamboo rat snakes. You don't see those very often.
Oh, those are cool.
Yeah, we got one left for sale, but we try to deal with a little bit of common stuff and a little bit of rare stuff. So
I was trying to find where leeches are posted on Morph Market.
They're under.
They're not under crested geckos. I clicked on that. That's not where they're at.
I want to say they're under Caledonia.
See, I went to lizards, and I went to categories. Oh, they have their own. So they're not under. They have their own gecko category. That's what threw me off. I'm like, they're a lizard. Why aren't they?
Yeah. They're listed in their own species.
I'm dumb.
But there's some up there like $3,000. It's crazy. And again, it's crazy for me. Obviously it's worth it for someone.
Yeah, like I said.
But it just looks high from my perspective of what I would pay,
But man, they are cool looking. I just can't bring myself to do it.
Oh, they're gorgeous. And if I had the money, I'd probably drop it, But
so, anyways, my dad said, "Aren't tokays known for eating your face off?" Yes, they are.
Horrible.
One little bite at a time.
And
I have actually seen I've seen some tame ones popping up lately, though.
Well, that's the problem is you'll find someone with a tame one, right? And they'll post videos or stuff of them online and holding it. It's great. Everybody's like, I want a tokay. Yeah, that's the same as like posting a calm green iguana. Look at that lovely calm green iguana. That's not the rest of them. You're looking at an outlier. You're not looking at the whatever the one's going to be like. So
at tokays, it's not something you can just handle and it relaxes eventually.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm sure there's someone sitting there right now going.
Calmer it gets.
I'm sure someone's sitting there right now going, yes, they are. I've done that.
Oh yeah.
Good for you. But I've seen way more tokays that want to just kill you.
I was like, they all want to kill you, in my opinion, just from what I've seen, but I don't know anything about them really.
Plus, taking the bite from one, it is a strong bite.
Oh yeah, you way unexpected. It's crazy.
I mean, we did watch one vendor at a Conroe.
But they have a stronger bite than you'd expect too.
Yeah, we did watch a vendor at a Conroe get bit on the nipple by a tokay. That was
on purpose.
On purpose. Yeah, all we had to do was
I can't imagine that being an accident.
I guess I missed.
We didn't even have to bet him like any money. We were like, "Hey, do it." He did it. I was like, I wouldn't have done that for free. I wouldn't have done it for money either. But they bit him on the nipple, and he still had a nipple afterwards. Luckily,
that was going to be my next question.
It was still there.
It was Joe Challoner.
Yeah.
Oh.
I forget who was holding. Bergoli was holding.
Bergoli.
Yeah.
What was it on Jackass where they had the alligator bite him?
Or the one where they had the Amazon tree boa bite his dick.
Mm-hmm. That one, yeah.
What?
That was in like the second or third movie.
Like right at the beginning. That was the intro scene for one.
Yeah, they dressed it up. They put it through a glory hole basically into a tank, and they dressed it up as like a mouse, and they had a string attached to it to wiggle it around, and this Amazon tree boa just lit it up.
Oh my God!
But that was also when Steve-O was doing a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
And Pontius was doing a lot of drugs, and now they don't.
Yeah, no.
So side comment, my daughter will sit on my lap and laugh her ass off for all of the Jackass shows. And it's not because I'm laughing. Like, she will sit there and die laughing every time someone gets hurt. And
Well, see, it's funny now
and I
watching
keep
them.
myself from laughing. It's like,
Well, watch him now when they're older. Like Steve-O is now sober, and to watch him like talk when he's sober, he realizes how stupid shit is now, and he's not willing to do everything. So
he won't do anything anymore.
You know, and Johnny Knoxville now looks like he's 70. He's like full gray hair.
Steve-O has a great podcast now, though.
Does he?
Oh, it's great because he's very open about his drug use and whatnot.
Because he's sober now. He's been sober for a while.
And very clear.
I think most of them got clean.
Yeah, they got old. Well, they either died
I was gonna say they
or got clean.
Ryan Dunn did, but
yeah, they had to.
Because he got killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only one that's still having problems is Bam.
Bam. Yeah. That's why they've kind of cut him out of everything.
He was supposed to the skateboarding scene though. I mean, it's
Well, he was supposed to be in the last movie, and they kind of cut him out of all of it.
When I was in college, two of my roommates were from Dana Beach or Dana Point, which is in Orange County. They were both really big in the skateboarding scene. One of them still to this day, that's all he for a living. He makes skateboard videos and does really well for himself. The other one he was a professional bodyboarder, and they knew back then they were called CKY, Can't Kill Yourself.
Oh yeah,
before they became Jackass, and Brendan DiCamillo, who's the goofy looking redheaded dude.
Yeah,
he used to come hang out a lot, and those guys were. I didn't like it because I don't like unpredictable people. You never knew what them fucking guys were going to do.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd be like at the beach and be like, hey, let's go jump off that cliff that's 50 feet up onto the sand. Yeah, I'll stay down here and watch.
See, I think someone who's never done drugs, but I think it's much easier when you're 20 and high to think that you can't die. Right. It's much different now when they're 50 and everything hurts when they wake up and they're sober and they realize, well, fuck that shit.
Yeah. I might be rich, but I can't walk.
I just can't do it anymore. Like, it's,
It's amazing that you look at like Johnny Knoxville has an acting career now. Like he had a show on Hulu that's pretty good. So it's just odd. I loved him in Walking Tall. Yeah. When I'm going way off topic. I don't care, but my favorite scene is when they're tearing apart the truck and he's just pretending to drive. Like, it's fucking hilarious. Anyways, all right. So let's wrap this up. For now, we're talking about Jackass.
So we're a little off topic.
So
always,
Jeremy, if they want to reach out to you and see what you have and check that out, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you and check all that out?
They can check us out on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and any of the normal stuff. Facebook's got our business card on there. Our phone numbers are on there. So if you ever want to reach out directly, you can.
TikTok, and you're located around Jackson.
We're right outside of Jackson, Mississippi. So we're pretty central to just about everything. We make trips down to the coast a lot. So if they're in North Louisiana, that's easy for pickup. Of course, we ship as well. We're on Wharf Market. We're pretty wide open.
Talk shit about Australia. I'm gonna be nice and try not to talk shit about Jackson, Mississippi.
Oh, you can talk as much shit as you want about Jackson. I don't live in Jackson. We're good.
It's a shithole.
So I do want to say,
I think it's like murder. I don't know if it's number one or but it used to be number one murder capita. Like it's.
Jeez,
I can see that. See that.
Our friend Blake Wilson is in Zimbabwe right now.
I saw him walking through tall grass where a guy had a gun.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said it's straight.
That's why downtown Jackson
out here.
Yeah, Jackson's the same thing. You gotta be strapped or else.
Point. Or get clapped. That's right.
I grew up a large part of my life in Mississippi, not near Jackson, Mississippi, but although you moved from you moved from what? Jacksonville?
We used to live in Jacksonville, Florida. Born and raised there my whole life, and then I got deployed a few years ago. We shut our pet shop down in Florida, and about halfway through deployment, we decided to move up here with my wife's family. So we came up here, and we had like 8 animals when we moved, just personal pets. And we kind of grew and started over again. So
my dad,
we're going to stay out of the reptiles and focus on family. And you see how well that goes.
My dad's coming to visit in March from Alabama, and he says he's going to be driving through Jackson in March. He's going to haul ass through Jackson.
He's coming to March?
Yeah.
When?
Spring break.
So my birthday.
Oh, okay. He'll be here.
Sam will be here for my birthday. We're going to dinner.
He and my mom are riding down the motorcycle.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I get to meet your mom too.
Yeah.
I was the same. I get to meet your
mom.
She'll
be here.
We travel a lot. We got family. We still have family in Florida and Alabama, and we go up to Tennessee and Arkansas and Louisiana,
Texas, and
Texas.
So talking about him having to drive through Jackson and haul ass through. Last time he was here, he drove through South Houston. Went to South Houston. He got home and was like, "Yeah, you shouldn't do that next time."
Right.
It
wasn't South Houston. It was Sunnyside.
Yeah,
which is south side of Houston, but there's an actual city of South Houston, which is not great either.
Yeah,
but yeah, he's like, I was on Yellowstone, and I'm like, Holy shit, you survived. Good job, man.
y'all are from Texas. I don't know how bad San Antonio really is versus what it looks like, but we went to SeaWorld in San Antonio last year and got involved in shooting in the mall. So
oh shit.
I was like, yeah, great. Family vacation. So,
Yep, that sounds like San Antonio.
We're not going back to San Antonio SeaWorld this time. Go back to Orlando.
Yeah, go to Orlando or go to San Diego.
Probably at this point a big city.
It's fun.
There's like a shooting in a big city ever. Although people, other countries always talk about it. Yes, we have a lot of shootings, but we're also bigger than the other countries.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Like
there's just more people.
Texas,
I mean, it's,
Texas alone is bigger than most other countries.
Right.
So it's a little skewed when it comes to numbers. But the good thing is we all have guns, so just shoot back.
Mm-hmm.
That's Australia. Y'all just upset y'all can't carry guns.
They have knives, right? Or they outlaw?
That's not a knife.
Where was it? France or somewhere is outlawing knives. Like you couldn't know.
Great Britain.
Are they really?
Yeah, you can't carry a knife on your person.
It's
not the whole country.
It's parts of
Because
something like
they had a huge epidemic of stabbings.
Yeah, that was
Wow.
they outlawed guns, so then everyone was getting stabbed.
I just feel like Scotland's like knives. That's fine. We got swords. Swords don't count, right?
Right.
We still carry swords. Just carrying broadswords down the street. It's not a knife.
Yeah.
It's my emotional support sword. But so check out Jeremy and he probably has knives. So he lives near Jackson. So he's probably, I'll say he lives near Jackson. He's got guns. He's got to protect all the snakes.
Quite a few of them too.
We'll try to see what my dad said. They have standings because they don't have guns. I feel like I think that's supposed to be stabbings.
What I was gonna say earlier. I saw somebody in New Orleans that put a note on their truck. They work downtown, and it's like an F-150, and they're like, "Please do not break the window. The truck is unlocked. The window's already been broken 3 times. There's nothing in here. Feel free to check." I'm like, it's getting bad when you have to do that.
Well, that was so in high school. I had a piece of shit car, but I loved it. It was a 1983 Buick Regal, big 4-door, all metal boat, and I had put a stereo in it. And towards the end, the stereo didn't really work. We had tinted windows and everything. It was parked in the parking lot of the school. Someone broke the window out and stole the broken stereo. The fucking car was unlocked. It was unlocked. You could have just the door handle, and you could have taken the stereo. Have at it. It didn't work.
Yeah. When I was a very young patrolman, I got into a pursuit one night that ended up in like this long, like 30-minute pursuit and stolen car. And we get to the end, and the car's like nose down into a ditch, and the guy was like laying in the passenger floorboard. So I started trying to break the window out. Bam, bam, hit him with my baton. And this old cop named Jimmy Gillane, who'd been a cop like 30 years, walks up. Fucking door's unlocked. I'm like, thanks, Jimmy.
Darren wants this. I don't understand how multiple people get stabbed in a row.
Right. It's like,
true.
hey, what's happening to that? Oh, shit.
Look at that guy getting stabbed. Oh, shit, I'm being stabbed. Guys, you're being stabbed now. What?
Nope. It happens, though.
We're all being stabbed. All right. Anyways, again, our giveaway this month, it's above my head. Go to our Facebook page. All you gotta do is tell us what 2 reptiles you would mix together and why. Have fun. Pick any 2 reptiles. You can win this amazing blood python calendar from Brittany Gobble. Photography in it is great.
It is amazing.
So do that.
She's so talented.
She really is. We had her on. She's between photography and her writing books and snakes and everything and her dinosaur that she owns.
And she's just an awesome human being.
And she owns a dinosaur.
Mm-hmm.
Some people call it an eagle. But
Douglas Ray White told me this weekend that Bull
has
bought 2 emu eggs and is incubating them. And so when they hatch into your house, because Bull and his wife announced this weekend that they're having a baby.
Yep,
awesome!
baby.
Yeah,
they're having a calf.
So yeah, so they are. He's incubating 2 emu eggs right now. So Doug might have 2 emus here pretty soon.
Oh, yeah. So
Tasha is not happy.
We got to get them. So maybe this weekend we'll sit down with them again. It's been a little while since we sat down with Doug and Tasha. We'll get them on. If y'all haven't listened to our Pearland show when we recorded, go listen to the interview with Bull. If you want to talk about reptiles, that didn't really happen there. But Bull is one of the funniest people.
We talked about some ball python genes.
We did talk about. That is true.
Yeah.
And driving heavy machinery.
Yep.
That got mentioned a lot. So go check out that. We will have some Conroe shows coming soon in the next couple months. 2 different shows. So we'll line up some people at Conroe and make them talk to us. Again, if you're at Conroe this weekend, come by and see us. Say hi. maybe you can pop on the podcast and we'll sit down and talk for a minute.
Yeah.
Come by the same boas. If you need to save money on
racks and cages,
hides,
signs,
all in the same place.
Signs.
You can find all in the same place.
I'll have some jumping spider and tarantula enclosures this weekend too.
Some acrylic. Yeah, the acrylic ones. I really need to put something in those.
Yeah.
Those are.
Oh, all of them are empty now?
They're all empty. All the spiders have died.
Yep.
But I mean, they've been there.
I might have to get with you. I've got a few tarantulas. I need to upgrade their cages.
Okay.
Can do that.
A couple
And again, if you want to say VivTech, it's Gumbo 22. Save 15% on any of your VivTech stuff. If you want to check out for again racks, you want to get a hold of Robert. If you want to pre-order, I would strongly suggest pre-ordering stuff for a show. You can get there and it may still be there what you needed, but at least if you pre-order, you know it'll be there.
Yeah, it's crazy. You never know. Some shows I don't sell them much, but some shows I sell everything on Saturday.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the year, it was like Slidell, and people were coming in on Sunday. Hey, I need a hatchling rack. Should have been here yesterday.
Yeah. That happens a lot in the Lafayette show, which we never have anymore, but that would happen a lot. They'd buy, it would be one size. Like a show would be like
the 40 breeder cages, the last one y'all did when I was in Fort Worth. Y'all are like, I wish we had those here. And I was like, yeah, I wish y'all did too, because I didn't sell any in Fort Worth.
We've been there where like 70 V70 tubs racks sell like crazy.
Yep. And then the next show, I won't sell any. It's weird. It's the craziest thing. I'm starting to learn, after this is my third year now of doing these shows, what shows sell what.
I think it has to do with time of year.
Yeah, it has to do with time of year.
You got to know hatchling time. You got to know when people are selling adults.
Hatchling racks because the hatchlings are going to.
Yep.
Yeah, and then when it gets to the end of that, people are doing holdbacks. They start selling adults, and so now you need to sell racks to the guys that are buying other people's adults, and that's when you start to sell a lot of those 70, the 3-tub 70s and stuff when they're buying, people's old female breeders. But that just takes time to learn that stuff. Yep. So reach out to Robert, lsreptileracks.com, or on Facebook or anywhere else where you can find them. Pre-order your racks for any of the Herps shows. I think you're going to be at pretty much everyone up until Pearland. I think it's coming up, right? So none of them are Oklahoma. So I think you should be at all those. And if you need to reach us, it is the Reptile Gumbo Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and at gmail.com. We will be back next Wednesday. We're recording next Wednesday as well because we have plans on Tuesday. We will be here on Wednesday. And that's it. Jeremy, thanks for coming on. Hang out while we log off. We'll tell everybody else.
Appreciate y'all. Have a good night.
Everybody else, good night and goodbye.